Sportsbook and Casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
Are you an athlete or professional struggling with life or career transition? Life isn't always easy, but hope is always present. Best Hope Counseling will help you move forward. For nearly a decade, licensed marriage and family therapist Larry Baumgartner has helped clients empower change and discover solutions using a solution-focused therapy approach. Conversations will focus on what you desire to change, not just the problems that brought you into counseling. From anger to depression or other emotions, Best Hope Counseling is there for you. Contact Larry personally on his direct line at 727-946-1346. Again, 727-946-1346 for a telehealth appointment in Florida and Minnesota, or in person an appointment in Minnesota. Take time out and begin your game plan to reconnect, rebuild, and restore happiness in your life. BestHopeCounseling.com.
Well, better did because they put Tristan in it. Well, you can sit it. They put this big ass in it and they just drained it. Yeah, they don't even ride. Here the heck is some oh, it's actually okay. It's got a little pound.
Oh, you got a little juice? You got a little push? We take it to the ride with the selfie. Yeah, push me again. I can push you up. Push me. All right, go. You got to go selfie.
Highlight of the day.
Yes, sir. Good job. Pull the thing together. For me? How much is this? It's one of one. So one of one. Damn. Go ahead and put a Hall of Fame in there. Get ready for it.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. How do we start off this show as we always do on a Monday, Wednesday night, post-game, pre-game for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sometimes for the Tampa Bay Rays. Of course, the Rays being in the news right now. We always talk about them also. But how do we start it off? You know them, you love them, you got to have them. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, we'll have Bushman of the Rays Rewind podcast talking about what else? Some Tampa Bay Rays baseball. But, of course, the big story coming out here the last couple of days, and we'll just address it right now. I don't mind if you talk about it. Just be respectful because at the end of the day, they're just allegations. We have no idea what's going on. But a Rays statement today, the Tampa Bay Rays and Wander Franco have mutually agreed that he will go on the restricted list and take leave from the club for the duration of the current road trip. Major League Baseball is investigating allegations made about Franco in a social media post. Of course, those social media posts are about having a relationship with a underage girl. Now, we don't know if she's underage or not. Again, I'm not sitting here and saying this and saying that, but if they are true, of course, consequences should follow. So we'll definitely talk about that with Bushman. We'll also talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers as they fell to the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 1 of the preseason. 27-17. We'll have my good buddy from high school, believe it or not, Reagan Weiss, who runs the Hub, which we are live from tonight. We're usually live from the Hub. I love St. Pete, Amped Up Sports, and now Bucs Life. So we'll have him on. He'll talk some Bucs football, and then we'll take your phone calls as always. Bucs, Rays are on the table. No crickets tonight. If you guys want to complain about not calling the show or not having an opportunity to talk about your favorite teams, that is on you. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. Before we get out to that, here's where I will be on September 3rd. Here we go. And the sound is not playing, so you got to love that. I love that when that works out. So we are definitely going to be here. Let me go ahead and get the announcement up. Is the third annual pre-Labor Day car show by Twisted Outlaws on September 3rd at the Stockyard, by the Stockyard there in Holiday, Florida. The Sports Web will definitely be out there. You'll have raffles, vendors, cash prizes, show cars, car audio, and of course the evolution of sports talk television. Get out there. We'll probably start the show off at 2 o'clock, 2 to 4, and the address is 1916 US Highway 19 in Holiday, Florida. So with that being said, let's go ahead, get this man on with some intro. Here we go. Of the Rays Rewind podcast, Mr. L. Bushman, welcome to the evolution of sports talk television. I don't know where we start. No, by the way, guys, happy creamsicle day out there. Welcome to the Sports Web, my friend. How you doing?
Good, man. You're extra spicy tonight, bro.
Well, I am.
Yeah.
I get told, on social media, like, I don't have an opportunity to talk about what I want to talk about. I give you two numbers, and then this is all I hear. Okay, so if you want to talk about the Tampa Bay Rays, or you want to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or anything on your mind, put your phone line, your hands or your fingers on the phone lines and get in on the evolution of sports talk.
It's the social media trolls that say they're going to do one thing and they don't do the other. So
well, and that's it. And that's it. And let's talk about Wander Franco. I mean, your thoughts about it? Disappointing to say the least. Came out of nowhere yesterday. I thought it was odd that the Rays brought up, and I hope I pronounced this guy's name right, Olaves Basabe, correct?
Basabe. Close.
Yeah.
Basabe.
Thank you.
You got the first name right, which
there you go.
50% is pretty good. Yeah, such a it's just a kind of a troubling situation. We Rays Rewind. We just finished recording our podcast just about an hour ago, which will be available for everybody tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Believe Podcast Network and also Spotify. It's look, I think Pete, you and I, we're sports media people, and we like to report on all things Tampa Bay sports and all things sports in general. But I think when it comes to a story like this, where we don't know a lot, where look, these are just allegations right now. We don't know a lot. And, I was talking to my co-host just now, like, look, you see a lot of things that are pointing one way and you see a lot of things going another way. And I think as sports fans, especially of the Rays and fans of Wander Franco and sports fans in general, you can take either one of those avenues of where you want to see this maybe being a scam, it may be a thing where they're trying to get money off it, an extortion kind of thing, or it could be a true thing where he effed up and may be involved with a 14-year-old. So it's all comes down to what avenue you want to choose and what avenue you want to believe. And if you want to read all these allegations and choose one way without seeing the facts, then that's your prerogative. So I think as of right now, I think, before you rush to judgment, which a lot of people on social media, especially Twitter's the worst, by the way.
It's so toxic.
Twitter is my God. Twitter's people, they just run to judge people so quickly. It's like, look, you don't know everything about this. Mm-hmm. So stop trying to be, the police on who gets canceled and who does what. Like, let's get the full investigation first until you start to judge people. So my stance is it's like, hey, I'm going to wait till everything is out there. And because we've seen a lot, we've read a lot, we've seen a lot on social media about both parties, and especially about the person that the alleged victim, and on his side too as well. Cause I know he came out yesterday on Instagram saying this is all BS. And we've seen multiple posts where this woman in question is overaged and she has a kid and she's been doing all these things. So we've heard and seen a lot. So I think as of right now, I think everybody, yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I think everybody should just kind of pump the brakes and let this investigation turn out to whatever it comes out to be. Now, if it comes out to be a positive note where he's cleared of all this, that's great. If it comes to the negative part of things, it's a terrible situation and it sucks. It sucks for, I think, all parties in general. But we're going to have to wait and see. And I think as an organization, the Rays are doing the right thing where they come to a mutual agreement with Wander, putting on the restricted list saying, look, we're going to have to step away from you for the time being. Mm-hmm. And I know somebody wrote in one of the Rays group pages where they turned their back on him. How did they do that? This is a mutual agreement where they are saying, look, we're going to have to part ways for right now. We're not going to turn back. We're just going to have to part ways and keep our distance from you until this thing clears up. So if whoever's out there saying they turned their back on the player, no, they never did. This is a mutual thing. It's good for both parties just for him to be away from the team for a little bit while this thing goes on, how long the investigation goes. And we don't know how long that's going to go. We don't know if this could take weeks, it could take months, and maybe it could take a year to get this thing resolved. So, and I know Pat Donovan came out today saying, look, you may not see Wander Franco in a Rays jersey possibly for the rest of the season. So that could come true as well.
I mean, it's certainly possible because the allegations are just so crazy in itself. And this is what Wander had to say in care of Jay Retcher's Twitter from IG Live. That's what we're doing these days.
Yeah.
They say that I'm in public with a little girl, that I'm running around with a minor. People don't know what to do with their time. They don't know what they're talking about. That's why I prefer to be on my side and not getting involved with anybody. With that all being said from his side of the story, because we got to get both sides of the story at the end of it, is it troubling when he basically is the face of your franchise? You sign him to a big time deal, that not only you have this come out, but also him and the Rays saying it in so many words. He's not a great teammate. I mean, this is not what the Rays envision when they sign him to that over $180 million contract, Al, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with that statement. I think, it comes at a worse time because of what we've had to see and what the team has had to deal with him for the past, years, past season so far, with his immaturity on the field and how he's been treating his teammates and whatnot, the suspension for 2 games, his antics on the field about, running out, ground balls. And yeah, it's almost like you're at a third strike with him. And it sucks because obviously he's still a young kid. You gave him a ton of money when he was like, I think, a 16-year-old player. And then you signed him to this this huge extension too for 11 years. So right. Yeah, it comes at a worse time because, first half of the season, the Rays were the darling of the league. And now it's the Rays are just, they're like, what is it? What happened to this team?
Right.
So yeah, it just comes at a worse time too. He's been hot lately too as well. He looks like the Wander of old. So now this comes out and now you have to take him away where the Rays, are still trying to be in that playoff hunt. They just lost Shane McClanahan too for the rest of the year. So it's and beyond too as well. So it's like, you need your best players out there, and now one of your best players is going to be a sideline for who knows how long. So yeah, it couldn't have come at a worse time.
We're on with El Bushman of the Rays Rewind podcast. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Can they overcome this? I mean, because we've seen them all year long. The injuries to the pitching staff, the distractions, now another one here. I mean, can this kid come in and replace? I mean, it's tough. It's a tough call, right? I mean,
it definitely is a tough call to replace Wander because the way he can play on the field and the way he's been hitting. Basabe is, he's a good infielder. He had a couple of good hits throughout the weekend too. Look, you're not going to replace Wander, so you're going to bring the guys up from the minors that could possibly replace him. They brought Curtis Mead up too a couple of weeks ago as well. We haven't seen a lot of him. He had a couple of hits, but I think as the season, as we get into the latter, like the next few weeks heading into the playoff, heading into the playoff race, you're going to obviously the rosters are going to expand and everything too. So you're going to bring up more players as well. I'm optimistic. Spoiler alert. I did say this on my show that, they could be a one and done. Yeah. And that's because of the injuries of pitching, because now you almost have to hold your breath every time like Glasnow is pitching because of the way he's been hurt, and he had back spasms not too long ago. And now Savali, obviously he's had a rough couple of starts too from being, brought over in that trade for Manzardo. So it's like, okay, are we going to go into the playoffs with this rotation? Like Eflin had a crappy outing yesterday too, and that loss 9-2. I think with the veterans on the team, they need to step up. Like Randy needs to be locked in. Brandon Lau needs to be locked in. Isaac Paredes needs to keep hitting home runs. Like the Yandy Diaz is the MVP of the team, everybody, by the way. So Yandy needs to keep doing what he's doing. So I think the veterans that are there now, you see the best that come out of teams when they have situations like this is you have to be resilient. And I think with the guys, hopefully what they did was before this road trip on the West Coast is had a team meeting, and we have to put this behind us and win. And I think that's what they have to do is just kind of put this behind us, put that behind what Wander's doing in the rearview mirror, and just focus on baseball right now and focus on making the playoffs and hopefully making a World Series run. So I'm hoping, but I'm being a realist here, is they could be a one and done in the wild card. And I think that's whoever they face too as well.
Right after such an encouraging start, and now you have the injuries and everything basically catch up with you. This is what Eric Neander had to say for the Rays GM with Wasabi at shortstop. Not how we thought it would play out, but with him, it's going to be. We thought it was going to be a one-day thing, but we think highly of him. He's going to get an opportunity to play. He's going to be someone that continues to be a factor in the near term, and see what happens. What do you see with this kid? What have you heard about this kid? Because again, you run that podcast. What do you know about him?
From what I've heard, he's a really good infielder. He's got a good bat. From what I've seen from when he's been down in the minors, he's no Wander Franco, but I think him being there, he's going to be serviceable at the shortstop position. Now, obviously, we don't know the timeline of when Taylor Walls is going to come back too from his injury as well. Hopefully that's soon. So, I think he'll fit in fine. And if not, the Rays will make a couple of other moves and bring up somebody else to replace him. And they've got guys that can be position players, and you can move them all around like chess pieces and everything. So I think for the time being, it's who they got in place, and then they'll figure it out if he starts to nosedive from there.
All right, let's go ahead and get my co-host on here. Here we go. Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television Live here. We're on with
you forgot to call me the conspiracy theorist. Remember?
Here we go.
You remember? Here we go. Evan, how the hell are you, brother?
I've been good, man. I missed you guys. I haven't been on in a couple of weeks because of work and all life situations. So yeah, it's been good. How you been, man?
You can't use 4-letter words on me.
Well, I tell you right now, we got to hold up here because we got to go out to the phone lines. We asked for phone calls. We're going to get phone calls. Rich from Newport Richie, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with El Bushman of the Rays Rewind podcast. And, of course, Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. What's on your mind tonight, boss?
Hey, brother. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, buddy. Director here of The Clock. You got a big opening coming up here in the next couple of weeks. You've been on here before, but I know you got something to say about the Tampa Bay Rays and maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, as far as the Buccaneers go, I mean, obviously we chatted during the game, and believe me, I understand it's preseason game number 1 and all that good stuff, so you can't really pretty much take anything from that. But you can look at a few things. I mean, obviously the penalties, which have dogged this team since before I was born, and it just seems like it's a constant thing. But once again, a lot of that stuff was a lot of new guys. So, I mean, except for Gadecki, which is starting to be a little concerning to me.
Yes, we will definitely a lot concerning, and what we have.
It's preseason, man.
Yeah,
Come
it's preseason. Well, he's going to be your starting.
Let's ask Evan.
And he was again. Listen, and Evan would say it. He was playing against the second and third stringer. He wasn't playing against TJ Watt. So that was the most discouraging thing. But I know you also want to have something to say.
And next week, man, he's not going to give up any pressures, any sacks, and now we're not going to be talking about this. It's just getting the jitters out, guys. It's preseason. Ease up. They ran the ball with authority. They had a problem with pass protection. They got a lot to clean up in the passing game. I don't care what anybody wants to tell me about Baker Mayfield. He's not the second coming of Christ. They got a lot to work on in the passing game. Their timing looked awful. Absolutely awful. But the running game, it looked good.
Well, I disagree. I disagree with you on the running game because they went for 3rd down and 1. They got stuffed. They went for 4th down and 1 and got stuffed.
I'm glad. You know why, Pete? Because they're going to continue to run that rock. And you know what? Last year, you get stuffed on 3rd down. What happened? Evan, you care to tell me what happened the next 5 times they were on 3rd down?
Not positive things. There you go.
Correct.
I know we want to keep this on Rays. El does definitely talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but he is.
I love the Bushman.
Listen, like I love Bucs fans to death, but when they freak out over preseason, it's so cute.
I know, man. Isn't it? I mean, it's just awesome. It's absolutely cute.
Out. I'm just saying. Now, Rick here. I know you also want to talk about Wander. What do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of learning exactly what happened here or what supposedly happened, allegedly, if you want to put those words. I mean, to me, I don't see any positive about this. People were talking about, this could be not exactly what we're seeing. But at the end of the day, I mean, you see the pictures. You've seen enough.
Hold on. You guys are seeing this, right?
Yeah, I'm seeing it, Carrie.
Okay,
Go ahead,
you are seeing this. The cat is in the sink.
I see that. Yes.
I see this, yes.
Congratulations, Harry. All right, go ahead, Rick. I'm sorry.
That's okay. But like I said, the pictures you've seen, just the what little bit that we absolutely know for sure, I can't see him coming out of this in any way, shape, or form other than it being a bad scene. Major League Baseball is not going to stand for it. Even if he doesn't get charged with anything or something like that, they're not going to stand for that with the way their policies are. It's going to be a bad look for the Rays to keep this kid around. From everything I've been hearing from other people as well, he hasn't been good in the clubhouse. I mean, it's just an absolute shame because the guy is just a ball of talent, and to see it get wasted like this, I don't know if it's just been his handlers around him or the people bringing him up or him following the wrong people, whatever the case may be. I think he may have gone to a point of no return at this point, and I can't see any way back from this.
I have a question for the caller.
Yeah, go ahead, Rick.
Okay. Rich, let's just assume the allegations are correct, and it is a 14-year-old girl, 8th grade. Okay? Now, put your feelings aside. I don't know if you have children or even the callers or listeners that are out there that have 13, 14-year-old young teenage daughters.
Mm-hmm.
The guy is from the Dominican, okay? And it's not uncommon to have arranged marriages. Now, let me be very clear when I say this. I am not defending the actions, especially if the allegations are true. But my question that I want to pose for the people on the panel, and you, Rich, as well, if this is a tradition where this was an arranged marriage that's gone wrong, what's your opinion then?
Now, that's a great question. It really is. And I mean, at the end of the day, if that's his culture, if that's where he's from, I can understand it. Doesn't make it right. The bottom line is he's here in America now. He has to go by these standards, these rules here. But if anything is true with those allegations about hush money, then, I mean, that throws all of that out the window.
Yeah.
Yep. But by the way, it is illegal. Legal consent in the country of Dominican is 18 years of age. But I'm telling you, someone that's frequented the country, it is common for older males to go with a lot younger females. Didn't say it was right by any means.
Let me ask you, Rick, and I know, Bushman, you want to talk about this too, but do you think, in your opinion, with all these distractions, that the Rays can still be a World Series contender and overcome it, Rick?
To me, I feel the Rays are pretty much the same thing every year. You and I have gone back and forth about this all the time. When you have an owner named Stu Culverhouse, you know pretty much
Stu Culverhouse.
The
comment of the night.
But the bottom line is that when it gets to crunch time and the injuries start to pile up, with the good teams and the teams that end up winning it all, when they can go out in free agency and pick up people to plug in holes, and we go out there and try and find the best buys on the shelves at Walmart to plug in our holes, It's not going to happen. Eventually, the bottom's going to fall out, and that's what happens every single year. And I don't expect that to happen again. I don't expect that anything different this year.
Unfortunately, the bottom started falling out on this team 1 week before the All-Star break, and it continued all throughout the month of July. You don't win World Series championships in May and June. I tried to bring everybody back to earth. Can this team make the playoffs? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Will they make a deep run?
No.
Probably not, because of the fact of all the injuries. But before any of this information came out, this team has been on a decline and has not trended very well. You can't play that many games under 500. Let's analyze this. At one point, the best time in their season, Bushman, how many games over 500 were there?
I think at least 30 over 500 at one point, and then they had the terrible July, which was god awful. I agree with Rick's statement. That's look, I wasn't here for the trade deadline. I was away, but I think what they did at the trade deadline was minimal. They didn't really address things. Look, they addressed one thing, was starting pitching, and that was that. Like, they didn't do anything else. And with the amount of injuries that have piled up throughout the season, I wish they would have done more. And, you're right. Look, to win championships, you have to plug in the holes that you need to plug in to win a championship. And
I don't know why they didn't go after Lance Lynn.
I didn't.
How's Lance Lynn looking now? Everybody that didn't like him.
They should have went after Michael Lorenzen. Look what he did. Look who's been doing in Philly right now. So it's just making one move, I guess a major move, and then a smaller move after that wasn't enough for me. And I'm like, all right, you're gonna roll with this, and then now Shane McClanahan's out. Now you're kind of running with a patchwork rotation going into the latter half of August and also September, and then going into the playoffs. So do I think they're going to make a deep run? I said this, Harry, before you came on the show. No, I think they might be another one and done like they were last year. And
they may not even make the playoffs this
no,
year.
I think they will.
That's the problem.
I think they'll make the playoffs, but I think it's just going to be another wild card one and done where they might get swept. And I think that's depending on whoever they play. They might be a one and done. If that's going to be Toronto, if that's going to be Baltimore or Houston, or whoever they play in the wild card, they're going to be bounced. And I think, and I said this before the show, it's like you see the best teams perform well is how they deal with stuff like this.
Rick, thanks a lot for the call. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry about that, Rick. I know you're listening. Great call. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah. Definitely. Go ahead, Al. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just how you bounce back from things that are gonna mess up your season like this, and the best teams win championships by doing that. And I don't know, man. When you have a team that just came out of the gate like they did in April and May, like they did, and everybody's like, oh man, this is it. This is the World Series team. And now that so many injuries have piled up, you have so many starting pitchers that are like, we had a money rotation coming into the season. Now
without
question, but now it's patched. It's almost like you're taking like the last bit of Gorilla Tape and you're just patching up the holes that just keep piling up too. And that's what you're doing right now. And to me, it just seems like now it's gut check time for the team. It's gut check time to especially the guys that have been there. Randy Rosarena, Brendan Lau, Yandy Diaz. These are the guys that really need to step up as the leaders and be like, look, this is where we have to turn it around, and we really have to put the pedal to the metal and win this fucking thing.
Listen,
love it,
Evan. You don't have to go to a full screen to me. Seriously, I like talking as a 3-panel because right now the three of us are talking. And second off, Alex, I know you're listening. We're not calling anybody right now. Okay, I appreciate it. If you want to call into the show, go ahead and call into the show.
We want to talk to you.
But we'll talk to you. But just do me a favor. I don't want to hear anything about fanboy shit tonight. I want to talk about reality. Okay. And I'm tired of all the hate mail that I received the last time I was on with Evan and Peter. I'm tired of all the hate mail saying, oh, you don't like the Tampa Bay Rays. It has nothing to do about not liking a team. I support this team.
It's being real.
Maybe not like you did, but I was being real. This team can still do it. But the likelihood with all the negativity that's happening in this clubhouse, it's horrible, absolutely horrible. What's
also
happening.
too, Harry, and I think Rich made up a good point too, is if a suspension does come down from the commish himself, old man clown himself, it could be a lengthy suspension. No matter what the outcome of the investigation is, this could be like up there with Trevor Bauer, and he was cleared of his allegations too, and that took, I think, almost a year and a half to get cleared up, and now he's out in Japan. pitching
Look,
in Japan.
I
So-
would really, really like to see this not be true.
Me too. I
Because
think
his
everybody
career
would.
his career is going to be completely ruined.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about a baseball player. We're not talking about a football player that got
Right.
away with murder.
Right.
Okay, we're not talking about a
There's a few
white
of those.
quarterback. I'm not trying to make this a race thing. A white quarterback and Ben Roethlisberger that can commit rape literally and get away with it. We're talking about a baseball player in a very small market, but yet a large market. But in comparison to New York and Boston and Chicago and LA and San Francisco, they're a small market. They got no chance.
All right,
and it's
guys.
a shame.
Really quick here, I'm gonna get. We're gonna keep Bushman on. Reagan Weiss is in the lobby. Stand by, my friend. I will get you on to give you plenty of time to talk about the hub. Let's go out to our phone lines. The return of Alex. Alex, welcome to the Evolution here with yours truly, along with Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports, and of course, Al Bushman of the Rays Rewind podcast. What's on your mind? We already know, right?
Good to call back in. It has been a while. First of all, I want to say I love you guys as always. I have not called in a long time.
Right, I
But
got you.
anyway, I know there's a lot going on. I want to kind of touch base on the Bucs real quick. All things aside, relax. It's preseason. I don't take anything serious off preseason. I think we kind of touched on base pretty well. I think the running game sucked, but it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
But to take everything into note, just a real quick brief comment on the Bucs. Just it's week one. It was kind of good to see a little bit of Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield. I thought that dot touchdown from Mayfield was pretty good. But I didn't get to see the whole game, but there's not too much to take away from it. But it's preseason, nothing serious. Hopefully, week two can show some better things. But guys, talking about this Rays thing, if you guys know me, I am a diehard Rays fan. That's all I live and breathe Rays baseball. And I know the big story about Wander Franco and what's going on. First of all, I'm going to say this from a person, and then I'm going to talk as a fan. As a person, God, I hope these allegations are not true. I don't believe in that nonsense. That's not who I am. Anytime we talk about anybody underage and serious allegations like this, of course, it's always going to be taken very serious, true or not. And if you're looking at a fan perspective, I think it's just so unfortunate because, this team, I kind of chimed in a little bit on what you guys were saying.
Mm-hmm.
This team has kind of faced a lot of injuries this year.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, you guys are talking about the month of July. Of course, who would have saw that coming? Just a very rough month of July. Of course, we all lost Shane McClanahan. The pitching situation all year has been so unfortunate. I mean, 4 starters in 1 year. I mean, like, I keep saying this a lot. Like, how does that even happen? I don't know. Unfortunately, as a fan perspective, it's always Rays baseball. We're always losing pitchers every year. But talking about the Franco thing, the guy as a player, and I got the man's jersey. I love him on the field. I don't know his personal life off the field.
Okay.
I don't know the deep down details of the allegations. I always believe in this saying, and it's always it's innocent until proven guilty.
I understand. You made that comment also, and you also made a couple of comments, and I'm going to call it right out to the carpet. I'm sorry, Peter. But when you post stuff like, we need this guy on the team, at what point does it not make – well, hold on. We don't need someone like this on the team. If he actually did this, they need to string him up by his testicles upside down if he actually did this. Let's just be real.
Okay,
It's not about a shortstop and the Tampa Bay Rays making it to the World Series. It's about ethical things that someone is doing. Sorry.
Okay, but
that's the way I feel about it.
Harry, also, I think so too. I think if this comes out where it's a extortion type of deal where he's cleared of everything, I still think also the Rays need to
correct.
If the Rays really need to put him on a short leash, because now you're looking at almost like a strike 3 with him, because
they pulled him out of the lineup. Okay,
I know
they've done nothing to defend this guy.
Well,
I know. You know how dirty this looks right now.
They're doing. I think with the Rays and MLB right now, they're doing the right thing with them distancing themselves from him to being on the restricted list too. But I think the outcome is a positive thing for him, where he's clear of everything too as well. They really have to really evaluate him in the offseason, going, look,
I agree.
We can't have any of this anymore. You need to be laying low now. You need to be a squeaky clean guy. You need to surround yourself with the right people instead of the wrong people. Because now, I look at this almost as obviously these are two extremes for players, but you have top prospects that come into the league and they just, they have such promise and they just keep effing up and effing up. This almost, obviously with Josh Hamilton, it's not as serious a situation as it was as we're hearing about with Wander Franco, but this looks like Josh Hamilton was a number one prospect coming out with the Rays organization, but kept effing up and effing up and effing up. And then Rays decided, look, we can't deal with this anymore. We're moving on from you.
Yep.
It has to
probably the best baseball player.
Yeah, and
it really was. He was incredible.
Yeah, and it has to come to the point where the Rays, depending on the outcome, and if this comes out where he's cleared, but if he somehow messes up again, or if there's some kind of drama surrounding him again, they have to be like, look, we might have to move on from you because we can't have this on the team. Because now I think no matter the outcome too, as well, he has to really earn the respect back from the clubhouse, the players on his team, because I'm sure a lot of those guys are like, dude, we are sick and tired of dealing with the stuff that is surrounding you. This is making this team almost like an icky situation to be on because of you. Like, you have to earn our respect back, and you have to step it up 1,000 times to where you should be. You are getting paid so much money to be the face of this franchise. Be the face of the franchise. Be like the level of Mike Trout is. Be like the level of Ronald Acuna is. Be the level as Shohei Ohtani is. Be the level as Aaron Judge is, being the face of the franchise, not having to deal with this type of situation.
Look what happened in Chicago, Evan. Look what happened in Chicago with Tim Anderson acting the fool. Yeah. Get up. He got cracked, knocked the hell out. Everybody's feeling bad for him? No, nobody. He will not be a Chicago White Sox
Another prospect
next year.
in the Rays organization that was moved on from because of his antics too, as well. He was a prospect with the Rays. He kept messing up, and they said bye.
Hold on. Even if he didn't do this, I'm in a little bit of a different stance, and they do prove him innocent. Buddy, let me tell you something. I think it'll be enough of a wake-up call. They won't have to tell him he has to be on his best behavior.
I don't know.
I don't know. He will.
I don't know if that could be a wake-up call for him, because to me, look, I had such a off.
That's him in the picture, okay?
I know.
That's not photoshopped.
I know.
Right. And here's my thing about it, and this is what I want everybody to watch for. If he signed that 11-year contract, do not be surprised because of a moral clause, and if he is found guilty of this,
out.
If he's not found guilty of it, that they wash their hands with it, because that is what the ownership would do. And they have every.
You really think so, Pete?
I would agree with Pete. I think old Stewie would look at this as a situation where maybe
Culverhouse?
Exactly. We should maybe look. I know a lot of Rays fans would be like, "Oh, you're out of your mind if they do that." Well, maybe leadership and all are gonna be like, "Look, we're paying a lot of money for this guy, and so far he's been more of a distraction than anything. Like, why should we pay him this gargantuan size contract where he's just going to be a problem after problem after problem?" If this continues, obviously, if this continues on, they have to really take a step back. And do we have to deal with a Terrell Owens type situation here on our team? Or, we're in a weird spot with this guy because, obviously when he came up, he rolls in with a Rolls Royce, being all flashy to start off with. I mean, to me, that
was given $4 million when he was
16. I know. So
16 years old, you have $4 million. There's an opportunity there. Just because you throw money, it doesn't mean it changes your age. You're still 16 years old. So you've already used to that. You're already and I get it. I know if that's how it works. It's completely
I was talking to a former MLBer today. God, I'm sure everybody could figure it out. He said, 100 million, 22 years old. You got the life by you know what. You could have the pick of the litter.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what he did. He gave me this. He does this and he goes, really? That's what I got.
All right, Alex, I didn't mean to hang up on you. You got a second call. You can call back, but we got another guest.
We didn't hang up on him, did you?
I did hang up on him. I moved on here. We'll come back to him in a little bit. Everybody gets a second call on this show.
Good call, Alex. Thanks for calling in, bud.
Of the Rays Rewind.
It's America. Everybody gets second chances.
Everybody gets second chances.
Within reason.
Just ask Ray Lewis. But you know who didn't get second chances? Ray Rice.
OJ.
Ray Rice did not get a second chance. Absolutely. All right. Let's go out to L. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution.
Oh, man, you ain't going nowhere.
I'm not going. I don't want to go anywhere yet. I got nowhere to be. I mean, we can
Promote
talk.
himself.
We
What do
can
you bring
talk-
the
we
fourth
can-
person in here?
If you guys want to talk Bucks with this guy right here, he'll definitely do it.
I'll say my piece on the Bucks. Look,
Uh-huh.
I watched a little bit of the preseason game. It's preseason.
It's the end
I
of the
think
world.
it's Baker's. I think it's Baker's job to lose. I don't want Trask being the number one quarterback. I've never liked that pick. I just don't like it. It's
Okay,
no.
you can get rid of Evan though.
No. I'm actually going to keep him on there. Contrarian.
I don't. I think it's Baker's job to lose. Baker looked pretty good on the preseason game. Trask to me is the number 2 for the time being. But with this team, which is look, they're a piece away from being a good team, and that's the quarterback position. You got to do what you got to do with it. I think Baker's your best shot.
He is.
That's it.
But
all right.
But it's preseason, guys. Everybody relax. It's preseason. We don't
All
know.
right.
We don't know. They could win 5 games, 6 games.
All right.
You are a trip, bro. You are a trip.
I love this guy. I love him on the show. I love the energy. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend.
What kind of vodka are you drinking in that bottle?
It's strictly water.
Okay. Sure it is.
Strictly water.
Shut up, Harry. Be quiet.
Water. It's water on the rocks, Harry. So relax.
There you go.
Rays Rewind Pod on the Twitter handles right below my name up here at Rays Rewind Pod. Make sure to go to Believe Podcast Network. Check us out, Rays Rewind. New episode will be dropping at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow morning. Check it out. We talk the Wander Franco situation and how it's going to affect the team. So check it out.
All right, there you go, Mr.
My
L
brother
of the Rays Rewind Podcast. Thanks a lot for your time here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend. All right.
Have a good night, Evan.
You too, guys. Have a good one.
All right, there you go. Let me put you in the lobby really quick. Let's take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have Reagan Weiss of the Hub. Hold off on the calls. I know I asked for them. Let's pay some bills here on the Sports Web. Are you an athlete or professional struggling with life or career transition? Life isn't always easy, but hope is always present. Best Hope Counseling will help you move forward. For nearly a decade, licensed marriage and family therapist Larry Bumgartner has helped clients empower change and discover solutions using a solution-focused therapy approach. Conversations will focus on what you desire to change, not just the problems that brought you into counseling. From anger to depression or other emotions, Best Hope Counseling is there for you. Contact Larry personally on his direct line at 727-946-1346. Again, 727-946-1346 for a telehealth appointment in Florida and Minnesota, or in person an appointment in Minnesota. Take time out and begin your game plan to reconnect, rebuild, and restore happiness in your life. BestHopeCounseling.com. All right, welcome back to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Let's go back out to Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. What's going on, Greek? How you doing?
You see it, little brother.
All right, and let's go out to this guy, old high school buddy. Basically the big kahuna of the Hub, one of the platforms that we go live from on Monday and Wednesday nights. Reagan Weiss, welcome to the Sports Web here.
What is going on, guys? Thank you for having me. You hear me good, Pete? You good?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's a wild conversation tonight, whether it's Wander Franco or Bucs preseason. But I had to get you on here. I really appreciate your time and appreciate your efforts of giving me the opportunity on the Sports Web to be on the Hub. Tell everybody out there what you do with the Hub, what the Hub is all about. Welcome to the Sports
Thanks, man, for this opportunity. What's going on, Greek, as well? I really appreciate you guys having me on here. Love the Sports Web. Love the energy that you guys bring. You should have kept the other guy on. I loved his energy too, man. You didn't have to leave. You could have brought him on the streamline. But the Hub stands for Helping Unify Business. And Pete, back in 2020, life was rough, man. People didn't understand what was going on with COVID. So at the end of the day, to make a long story short, we created the Hub, which is helping unify businesses. And we got a bunch of businesses together to create our own funnel for the community. A lot of business owners try to make that one funnel for themselves to bring business to themselves. What we decided to do was make a funnel for the community. And because of that, businesses have thrived and millions of dollars have been funneled back through our own community here in Tampa Bay. And it's all because of the Hub, man. So we're just really grateful for this moment. And quite frankly, to flip this back, with business, we're always telling businesses where they should market their business, and where they should market their business is right here on the Sports Web. it's another avenue for people to come out and talk about their business, because you're giving business owners opportunities to talk about things that they love besides business, which is sports. And brother, what I've seen you do for many, many years now is take your dream and bring it into a reality. And how cool is that to see where we both came from? The turmoil, the animosity, to turn to a friendship. And I'm jealous because you get to do what I wanted to do, and that's sports web. So I love it, brother.
I love it too, man. And I never knew that. And what he's talking about is, at first, we kind of had, a little bit of a disagreement, if you will.
Yeah. I was an asshole. Let's call it real as it was, Pete.
I had to whip your ass too, Peter. Let's be real.
Pete,
Quiet, Harry.
He was a good guy, man. Pete was a good guy. I was not the good guy. But at the end of the day, to see someone fulfill a dream that they wanted to do, which is, bring sports and sports announcing to the world and to our community, that's Pete Blake. That's pretty cool. So hats off, tip of the hat for you, buddy.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And like I always tell people from the hub, from I Love St. Pete, from Amped Up Sports, the sky is the limit with the sports web. We can play videos.
Right.
We can put you on with your links if you want to promote your business. Yeah, I'm not going to do it for free. I mean, you're not going to do it for free. Nobody's doing it for free. Of course, everybody has a price, going back to a wrestling term from the $1 Million Man. But, it's going to work out for you if you do sponsor and definitely come on the sports web and you want to promote your business. We could do that, and we could definitely do it on the hub. Now, you said you wanted to be a sports broadcaster. I got to ask you, because we predominantly talk Rays and Bucs, but mostly Bucs.
Right.
What did you think about Saturday night's performance versus the Pittsburgh Steelers as they lost 27-17?
Listen, dude. Listen, it's preseason, buddy. Well, I don't know why people listen. And I'm not even like, you guys are true sports people. Now, mind you, I played at my little Division II college, right? So, but that's nothing. But I kind of, I walked away from sports in a certain way, Pete, and I'm not as engaged as I once was. But at the end of the day, I do know football, and let me tell you, it's preseason, so let's stop with the conversations. Let's just stop right now. Right? Like, who do we really know? Like, how do we really know what's going to happen? Everyone plays at a different level, and I don't care what level you're at, even in the pros. Yes, there's people there, the rookies who are coming and trying to prove themselves, but I'm telling you right now, they're not playing full speed. So stop. Let's just stop that conversation, and we'll see what happens in game one. And I'm going to tell you something really cool. I think you both will appreciate this. Just by circumstance, it didn't even happen to plan this. I actually ran into the COO of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just 2 weeks ago, Brian Ford. How crazy is that? In the same room as the guy, and we were able to do a couple of Q&As with him, and it was really, really cool. And quite frankly, to hear his mindset and to hear how he's been preparing for this season versus last season, and how everything's changed since the Brady evolution, and Brady's now gone, and even how his legacy is still left behind. That was pretty cool to hear, man. Like they said, when Brady came in, he changed the culture of the game, and he changed the culture of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is Brian Ford's words, not mine. He changed the culture of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay, that's what he said. And he said that it's still lingering in that locker room today. That's pretty cool, and that's pretty impactful. So Brady brought something and brought some kind of impact there that is left over, and there's like something to prove, and there's that let's go attitude. That was pretty cool, man. And I asked him a couple other questions as well, like what does he do as think about it from a business aspect, Pete. What does he do as the COO of the company to prepare, right? Like think about that. We always think about the players and what they're doing, but what are the owners box thinking? What are the COOs thinking? What are the CEOs thinking? How are they preparing for the game? Which is pretty cool too, that he answered some of those questions as well.
I got to ask you, because this is a debate that's been raging on for the whole offseason and even the other night's game. Who do you think is going to be the starting quarterback on day one on week one versus the Minnesota Vikings? Is it going to be Baker Mayfield, like I kind of think, or Harry, who is a Kyle Trask guy? Who do you think is going to win out this job?
So I'm gonna let you know you went out there for a second. So you guys don't think Trask has it? I think it came in and out really quick. So
I'm sorry. Kyle, do you think Baker Mayfield is going to win week one, be the starter for the rest of the year, or do you think it's going to be Kyle Trask?
It's going to be Baker, bro. It's going to be. Listen, do you think Trask has that capability yet? Is he?
Yes.
Did he learn enough underneath the champion? Do you think so?
Well, I mean that's the big thing, right, Harry? I mean, I think that's kind of an advantage. And you look at him the other night, was he necessarily put in the great situation? I get it's preseason, but he didn't have any time to throw the ball. I mean, in your opinion, Harry, do you think that's an advantage with him learning under Tom Brady for those 2 years?
Yes and no. I mean, yes and no. I mean, let's talk about what's going to happen after a preseason game number 2. Now let's flip the script. Baker throws a pick. He gets sacked 2 or 3 times. And Kyle Trask throws for a TD or 2 and passes for 150 yards. Now what are we saying? Baker's a bum and Kyle's great. Look, man, everything happens from week to week.
Let me ask you a question, though, brother. Don't you think Trask at this point, learning under Brady for the past couple of years, shouldn't he be the standout over the other? Like, shouldn't he? Right. But why do you think that's not happening? Why do you think he's not the standout yet? Or is it just perception?
I think it's just perception. That's a great question because a lot of people don't ask me this question. Number one, let me explain. Let me be very clear with this. When the Tampa Bay Buccaneers signed Baker Mayfield, I'm the one that stood on a soapbox back in January right here on this show and said, don't be surprised that Baker is going to be a Buccaneer. But I did not know, okay? I did not know that they were going to fleece the man into how much money they were going to get for him. So let's be real. You got the first number 1 overall draft pick in the entire National Football League in Baker Mayfield, who just signed a deal with Tampa Bay for not second string, let alone third string money. I want you to think about that. So Tampa really was just saying, yeah, we're going to let you compete for a job. But their intentions was never for the, in my opinion, again, I don't know this to be factual, with the money that they're paying him, they were telling him, look, you can compete for a job, just don't get your hopes up too high. We've drafted a quarterback. I still think this is Kyle's job to lose. That doesn't make him the better quarterback. Let me be very clear when I say that. They have to see what they have in Kyle Trask. Otherwise, it's a bust. Simple.
I heard this from Sal Palantonio today from ESPN as he was on the JP Peterson show. He said it's easier to go with Baker and then go to Kyle instead of going with Kyle and then go to Baker. It's easier to do that. Do you think that's the reason why, guys?
Either way.
I mean, for me, it is because if you go with Baker and he doesn't perform, then you can always go to Kyle. But if you go with Kyle and then he doesn't perform well, then not only do you ruin his confidence, but then at the end of the day, you don't know if he's ever going to turn into that quarterback. Because
you know what the problem is too, Pete, is that there's a mindset and there's no definitive cornerback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. And in my opinion, from a professional standpoint, it leaves doubt in the audience's mind because we don't have that go-to guy. Like, he's your go-to guy, right, Greek? Because Trask that's who you want. And then maybe Baker is Pete's go-to guy, and that's what he wants. So if anything, for marketing aspect, it causes division within the Tampa Bay Buccaneer organization because other audiences want, other fans want what other fans want. I don't know. It's crazy.
Hey, look, man, I like Baker Mayfield, and a lot of people can get this misconception that I'm like anti-Baker, and that's not the case. I'm the one who's rooting for them to get him. But the writing's on the wall. They're not paying him, and we look, man, the elephant in the room is the guy's not making the paycheck that other backup quarterbacks are making. Or even first stringers. Are you kidding me? They're getting the bargain of the century in a Baker Mayfield. Even if it didn't work, it didn't cost them a ton of money. They're paying him less money than they paid Jay Cutler after his career was over to come out of retirement to go to Miami. I want you to think about that.
Yeah.
And that was 7 years ago.
Does he have like some kind of incentive program?
Yeah, he's got $4 million with $4 million in incentives. He can make up to $8 million.
And I think the thing is that everybody's not looking at, and I continue to go and focus on this, it's not necessarily because I'm just a Baker fan. It's because of the situation right now, guys. You need wins. You have a player that basically is a rookie quarterback in a new system. That, to me, doesn't seem like it's going to work out. Here, you've got a quarterback who's ran this system that Dave Canales is running. It's much like the system he came from the Rams. He's got 69 professional starts. He's been there. He's done that. So it's not
man, he's head over heels the better quarterback at this point. I get it, but they're not paying him. and they got nothing to lose by going with him.
Well, they got no money. They got no money to pay. They're not paying anything to Kyle Trask either.
I get it. I get it. But let's not ignore the elephant in the room. And the elephant is they're not paying him even backup money.
I'm going to tell you right now, the elephant in the room that you're missing is the fact that Todd Bowles needs wins. So are you going to depend on a guy who only has 9 starts for his entire career, which basically, again, is a rookie quarterback? Or are you going to depend on somebody who's been there and done that? Like this guy right here, Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. How many years do you have of gambling experience?
Plenty. Too many. You know, let's just be honest. I mean, I've been handicapping professionally for over 30 years, along with Bandit right here. I mean, really, Bandit. Come on. But seriously, I mean, would you really? God bless it, man. Seriously,
you love it. The cat
there you go.
Your cat loves you. Stop with that.
But anyway, where was I?
I don't know. You have 30 years of experience of gambling, and my point was I'm not going to ask somebody that had just met 5 minutes.
No, wait a minute. So what I'm saying is, here's the point I'm going to make. With Kyle Trask, yes, they got more to lose by not playing him because they've got to know where they're at with him because there's a contract right around the corner, Pete.
Well,
that's why I still believe this is Kyle's job to lose, not because he's the better quarterback, because they have so much invested in him. Oh my God, Bandit, seriously, bro,
loves you.
All right, he loves you.
He's a good boy. What about? So what if? Let me give you that hypothetical. What if that wonderful quarterback that went to the Jets came to you? Did you guys want that? Did you guys want to see him come over or no?
Aaron Rodgers?
No.
Well,
no.
Something we say on this show. Wow.
Green Bay sucks.
And that was because of Aaron Rodgers. But I will say this. They signed Dalvin Cook today. 1 year, $1.6 million contract. They seem like they're going all in. They're doing everything that I believe the Bucs did with Tom Brady. They're doing everything that the Rams did for Matt Stafford. So that situation may work out. I'm not sure if I wanted him here or not. I would have rather had a Baker Mayfield. I would have rather had a Derek Carr, honestly, to tell you the truth. But I'll take a Baker Mayfield that knows this position. And the Bucs, you know what? They didn't want to spend the money. I get it.
Oh my God,
they wanted to.
You're killing me.
So, Harry, I tell you what, we'll get you out of here on that. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution of Sports.
I don't even know what to say anymore. This cat's driving me nuts. He's laying on my keyboard.
Okay. That's awesome.
No, for real. Here. Just take a look.
Cat love.
Hey, how are you? All right. Anyway, I'm Harry the Greek, 1252 Sports and the Sports Web. Cannot wait, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm telling you what time of year it is? It's time to make some moolah. Seriously. And Bandit over here, he needs some more treats. Anyway, thank you very much, gentlemen. Alex, great phone call today. We didn't hang up on you. Stop trolling us, though. We love you, brother. Y'all have a great night.
Take care, man.
Here, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. Thanks a lot for your time here on the Sports Web. Let's come back here with Reagan Weiss of the Hub. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Open phone lines. You can talk about what you want to talk about. I will allow you to talk about Wander Franco if you want to. I got to ask you, Reagan, it's a very controversial subject. What do you think about this whole matter? I mean, it really is sad for him because he is a superstar, 22 years old for the Rays. You hope it's not true. I mean, your thoughts on it altogether.
I mean, if it's true,
right?
It's career ending. It's not seasoning. I think it's career ending. It's life ending. No.
Yeah, I know. I think it is. I think you're exactly right. And I think that's the disappointing thing. You've already had some of these situations, incidents off the field, which is what you don't want with the 22-year-old superstar who you're paying over $180 million.
Listen, I'm gonna touch on something. We'll go to the Rays. I'm gonna bounce back to the Buccaneers really quick. One of the questions that I asked Brian Ford was, when these guys get so much money at a young age, like, are they tutored? Are they mentored? And Pete, man, it kind of blew me away that his answer was, we stay away from money. We don't get into the financial situations of it. That's up to their agents, right? That's up to their financial advisors. That's up to their families. And to me, buddy, like, I asked him, like, well, what do you do in regards to talking to these young athletes? I don't care if you're a baseball player, hockey player, football, whatever. These guys need guidance, man. They're getting an exorbitant amount of money at a very young age, and they just live life, and they live in life because they're getting all this money and they don't know what to do with it. It's new money, and they're just living like they shouldn't, but I did find out from the Buccaneers that they are taught, they actually have an etiquette class, which I did not know. So they're taught to be a part of the community. They're taught to be a part, to inject themselves in the community in a positive light. Some of them like have speech class and so forth and so on, which is great. But man, when you hear a story like that for the Rays, it's just, I don't know, man. There's nothing that can fix it, and you just pray that it's not true. But if it is,
Yeah, you're exactly right. And hopefully he can get some mentoring from someone in this organization, and hopefully he'll be able to take it. Do you think that starts in high school and college, that you need more of that? You go back to Jalen Carter, right?
That is a great question. And let's take it back to high school, right? It's also parenting as well, right? Let's not forget about parenting. But for those that don't have parents, there's a part of me that wish. Even my father, and God bless him, he was one of my best mentors. And trust me, Pete, I did things that my father would have beat the crap out of me for, the way I acted. But at the end of the day, to teach these kids and have a third-party mentor come in at a young age, I think it's very important. I think it's lacking in the industry. I think it's lacking in the sports industry. Because guess what? At the end of the day, you're always not going to listen to your coach. And at the end of the day, you're always not going to listen to your parents. So a third party coming in saying, listen, this is the proper way to behave. This is the proper way to inject yourself in the community. This is the proper way to articulate yourself. I think it needs to happen. And I think it needs to start in high school, and then especially in college, man. Like, we are in the look at me generation now, right? Look, what are we looking at, Pete? Right? The look at me generation. And it's stop. Yeah, just stay on you. I want to see your face, man. Don't show. I gotta see more Pete Blake. I gotta see more. I don't even know who I'm talking. I gotta see Pete Blake. But we are the look at me generation. And dude, these kids behind us, these Gen Zers, these young kids, that's all they know, Pete. I am grateful that I never had this kind of phone and this kind of technology when I was a kid. Number one, I never would have went to college because I would have videotaped everything and I've been an ass. Number two, it keeps record of what you're doing. And if you go and look at what these kids are doing today and what they think's funny and amusing, and it's not.
It's different. It's so different when we were growing up, because you didn't have TikTok, you didn't have cell phones. I mean, you had to go out and find things to do with yourself. We're on with Reagan Weiss of the Hub. Talk about the Hub and what you guys have done in the community. Some of the things. Huboween. I definitely want to get out there, do a live show. I definitely want to be more involved. And of course, talk about that a little bit with the Hub.
So I'll tell you what's really cool, buddy, about Huboween is that actually Brian Ford is, when we were talking that day, said, get me information on that because I want to become the Buccaneers. I want to send the street team out there. I want the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be a part of it. I want you to think about that. That's pretty cool for an organization, Hub Life Charities, to be only 3 years old. And we're talking to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But yeah, Huboween's coming up October this year, 27th, 28th. And back in 2020, when COVID hit, we created a drive-in scare lot, a drive-in scare house, if you will, where people don't have to get out of their vehicles. And if you get too scared, or if your kids get too scared, they're told to put on the hazard lights so we don't approach the car too much, and then you could just drive by. So it's in Starkey Park, Newport Richey, Florida, and actually everything's online. I'll get you all the data so you can put it in the links above and below later on. But you can actually go on there, and then you buy your tickets, and then you can jam-pack vans, you can jam-pack pickup trucks. We don't care. It's $20 per ticket. I think it's $20 or $25 per ticket, depending on the day you buy or when the event gets closer. But jam-pack the people in, and then you go through each parking lot. It's its own scare zone that's actually sponsored by specific businesses, and they go all out, and they spend all this money on decorating their scare lots and decorating their vehicles to bring smiles to kids' faces, or maybe not some smiles so much, maybe some tears sometimes for some kids, because it's fun and scary stuff. But that's coming up October 27th, 28th this year, and we love to have you there, man. Maybe go live that whole time. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely go live the whole time. We're working on some of those things to do that. Now, with that being said, we just talked about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know you talked about preseason, but what is your biggest concern with this team going forward in 2023? What do you think it is? Is it offensive line? Is it coaching? Is it the run game? Is it the defense? What is it for you?
Dude, listen, I might be completely off base here. Okay. Head coach.
Okay.
And there's a respect level at that, you have to have a certain respect level at that, at that level. And I understand what he's done for the organization. I understand, what he's brought in and how smart this guy is. But dude, I don't know. It's just I feel when I watch him talk, when I watch him speak, and that's only, mind you, this is only from clips that we get to see here and there, right? Mm-hmm. But to me, it's more of like a friendship with these guys versus a kingship. Does that make sense?
No, it makes lots of sense. And I think there's a lot of people that feel if Bruce Arians were the coach last year, that this team would have had a better record. But I do think, to be fair to Todd Bowles, he doesn't necessarily, with his coaching record, hasn't always had the talent around him. And then last year, he had BA looking over his shoulder. Now he doesn't have that. BA has kind of walked away from the organization to a certain degree, allowed Todd Bowles to do his thing, allowed Todd Bowles to have his own coaching staff. So now it's all on him. And the defense was disappointing last year. He wants to correct that from Carlton Davis's comments. And then on top of it, look, they're a couple years removed from, winning Super Bowl 55. So it's not like they don't have talent. So whenever he says they're rebuilding, they're looking for the number one pick, I just don't buy it. And I think that's probably one of my biggest question marks. Can Todd Bowles finally fulfill the potential that some people feel like he has, and this is the reason why BA picked him?
Do you think this is this is it for him? If this is his year, he better figure it out.
I think he has to, because if he's able to hire his own coaches, he's able to have his own offensive system, and the NFL is not for long. So if he makes the playoffs last year, you win the division, but you only win it with 8 wins with Tom Brady.
Dude, but let's not. Dude, Tom was in a different mental state. Year. His wife screwed him up, and that's
absolutely
the truth, man. I mean, not just his wife, his kids, and we can't blame it all on her. God bless, but dude, it ruined him, man. Come on,
yes.
Where in the world, in any NFL organization, unless it's Tom Brady, you're like, hey, man, peace out. I got to go deal with some family crap. I got to go, and then they let him go. That doesn't happen in any organization, but it's Tom Brady, so you let him go do that. But that dude, that destroyed him. There is no way, P, I'm telling you right now, there is no way any man, I don't care if you're superhuman or not, that you can go through that mental torment knowing that the possibility that you're not going to have your family as one unit anymore, and then you got to go perform at this level? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Why couldn't she just shut up? Just until the end of the season, bro. Just shut up.
Why couldn't she shut up? And then why couldn't, all the media distractions, why couldn't he, not go here and not? I get it. There was all kinds of distractions.
Do you want to know why? Do you want to know the media did it? Because the media likes to see giants fall, bro. Mm-hmm. Because the media likes to see giants fall, and he's a giant, and they wanted to see him fall. That's why the media did that. And it's wrong. He's a human guy, but you know what? Because he's 6'3" and a freaking beautiful human being, they want to see him fall. That's why the media did that, and that pisses me off. Because at the end of the day, the guy's done nothing but awesome things for the NFL.
He really is.
You know what I mean?
He's the greatest of all time, and that's the thing. They try to build you up on this plateau, and then they pull you down. And it didn't help last year with all the distractions off the field. Furthermore, the offensive line wasn't good enough, and on top of it, his skills weren't necessarily there, and that's why he retired. So I feel like the Bucs, they're definitely under the gun here. They got lots of talent. So to answer your question, yes, I think Todd Bowles' job may be on the line. I don't necessarily think, he has to win the Super Bowl or has to make the playoffs, but this team cannot be.
No, I think so. That's where you and I will.
I think he has to win a division.
I think he's got to win the division. I think he's got to get to the playoffs. I think with the talent that's remaining, come on, dude.
Yeah,
you got to make it. And Pete, that's only from what I see from the outside. I don't listen. I'm not you. I wish I was you. I don't like all the statistic, all the yardage, all that. Just from the outside perception of what's remaining, what talent pool is remaining left, you at least got to go to the division of the playoffs. If you can't do that, then you're not going anywhere. I don't care who you are and what team. So,
all right. So last thing here, and then we'll get you out of here on this. Yes. How many wins do you think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have this year? Over, under, because they had 8 last year. Do they have over that or under that, in your opinion, Reagan Weiss?
Over, and I'm gonna say Ooh, I'm gonna say 9.
Well, see, you've been watching my show because I've been saying 9 or 10, and I'm not sure yet because that right side of the line, and then Tristan Wirfs at the left side. We'll see how it works out. Ryan Jensen. I don't know. That's my biggest problem, that offensive line. Can they get it together? We shall see. Reagan Weiss, thanks a lot for your time here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television of the Hub. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Sports Web.
Sure. Thank you, Matt. I really appreciate the time tonight. Once again, Reagan Weiss, if anyone has any questions about the Hub or being involved with the Hub or being involved with Halloween or being involved with the community, feel free to reach out to me or direct message me, or you can call me or text me at 727-992-5703. Let's talk business and let's talk growing community. Thanks, Pete. Love you, brother. Take care.
Love you too, brother. There you go. My high school friend right there, Mr. Reagan Weiss, runs the Hub. Thanks a lot for your time here on the Sports Web, my friend.
Yeah,
all right?
buddy. Bye-bye.
All right, good stuff there. So, after all the guests, now the phone lines are open because, again, I know we have guests and I want to take phone calls, but then there has to be a medium. And then I also want to read comments. So we got to do all this stuff. All right. Now we'll go back to the phone line. Roger Shue, welcome to the Evolution, the Tribal.
Acknowledge me.
What do you have to say?
Well, tonight I want to acknowledge you.
Why is that?
This whole Wander Franco thing, I hadn't heard anything about it until I tuned in tonight. So thank you for the info.
Absolutely. You're welcome, man. You got to get on Facebook sometime.
It's if it's true, it's just disgusting. His career should be over. He shouldn't even be allowed to be a bat boy in MLB.
I agree. Completely agree.
I mean,
and again, I'm not going to
old
sit
is-
here
how
and he's 22 years old. The allegation is that the girl is 14, but
Oh,
there
God.
are photos out there that are showing her with vodka and driving a Mercedes and all that. So there's conflicting reports. So again, there are allegations. I'm not convicting anybody, but I will say this, whether it is right or whether it is true or not, it is a distraction for this team. Case in point, the pitcher yesterday, Zach Eflin, had one of his worst outings. Why? Because he was the first player in that clubhouse that defended Franco. So if you don't think he was affected by it, or you don't think that clubhouse or that team overall was affected by it, then I got
Everyone's
oceanfront
affected by it, from
property.
Sternberg all the way down. was
Of
affected
course
by
they
it.
were. And I know people who covered this team that told me the locker room was dead yesterday. The clubhouse was dead yesterday. And it wasn't because they lost to the Guardians 9-2. It was because he basically is the superstar on this team. He is the face of this franchise. And how many distractions, how many more injuries can this team take before basically, it fails? And they are so talented. Who knows? You hope that he's innocent. You hope that he can come out of this.
Pete,
Right.
At the start of the season, I said the only thing I thought that could stop this team from going all the way were injuries. I didn't even think about something like this occurring.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, no one did.
Well, nobody
Who
does.
would have
Nobody
ever- yeah.
wants that to happen. Nobody wants the Rays to come out as an organization and say he's a bad teammate. And people go, well, he's 22 years old. I get it. He's 22 years old. But can we please stop conditioning athletes because they're so young and they can get away with anything they want to? Enough of that nonsense, because that's the reason why you're here in the first place. That may be the reason why, because it's what Reagan talked about. You don't have any mentors in that guy's life, in that kid's life. Maybe
No.
that isn't there.
We all think of all of the stupid stuff we've all done when we were 20, 22, 25.
I get it, but
My God.
you had to serve the consequences for it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if I
absolutely.
drove with
They don't.
a suspended license, I went to jail for that because that was the
Exactly.
consequence. Those are the consequences that are missing sometimes in a lot of these young athletes. And public says, well, he's young, you make mistakes, he could turn around. Okay, I'm all about they could turn around. But, how many more situations does Franco have to go through until the Rays say, you know what? You are semi-talented. You're amazing, but we can't do this anymore because not only you're a bad teammate, you have this situation, you have that situation, you paid him nearly $200 million. I mean, they're going to have to make some decisions, and this kid is going to have the mindset of, I can't put myself in these situations. What is the priority? Do I want to be a Tampa Bay Ray? Do I want to be one of the greatest Major League Baseball players of all time? Or do I want to, be around somebody that's going to pull me down? And again, did he know? I don't know what the story is. I don't know, but it seems like athletes all the time, they put themselves in these type of situations and then they say, well, I'm young or I'm this. It's about accountability and it's about responsibility. And that's what it comes down to with a team. When you have a player that's not accountable for themselves, then how can the rest of the team count on that player? That's what it comes down to. That's why Antonio Brown will never have a job in the National Football League. Why? Because he let his team down. How could you trust him after that? You can't. That's what it's coming down to with Franco. That's what it's come down to.
It's a shame because the kid's got all the talent in the world.
It'll never be disputed. I'll never sit here and say he's a terrible player because it's completely false. But can you get out of your own way, or is it going to be an ongoing process where we're going to continue to hear about this? Because I'm telling you right now, the Rays, if they continue to hear this and if these allegations don't go his way, they're going to cut ties with them and they're not going to look back. I mean, they've already brought up a shortstop prospect already. By the way, update here. Orioles are over the Padres 1-0. So not good news for the Rays. We'll keep you abreast of the situation as the Rays right now are in San Francisco. All right. So what else do you want to talk about? Because I know you want to talk about the Bears. So go ahead and talk about the Bears.
Yeah, go Bears.
Okay.
Justin Fields is legit. DJ Moore has made that team.
Three passes. By the way. Yeah. Okay.
That's all he needed. 129 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 158 QB rating.
Impressive. Very impressive. Yes. Very impressive.
It was. Seeing that offense was something much, much needed and much appreciated as a Bears fan. We haven't had that ever.
Well, we'll see if it works out. And I think you made the right move. A lot of people talking about, well, Jalen Carter made an impact for the Philadelphia Eagles. You got a steal there and an offensive lineman out of Tennessee and Darnell Walker, who I've heard has killed it. I'm not surprised by it because I feel like if he were on the board for the Bucs would have taken him at number 19. I really feel like that. He's that good, and he wasn't going to last.
The Bears had 8 sacks in that game Saturday.
Well,
they had 6.5 as a team for all of last season.
We'll see if they can continue that. Again, it's preseason game number 1. We're not going to lose our minds, but it was very impressive, not only by their defense, but also Mr. Justin Fields. What else, Roger?
I heard all of the Bucs conversation.
Yes.
My thinking is I still think it's too early. I'm still leaning toward Trask. I don't know why. I just have that feeling.
Well, I would say this. Ira Kaufman came out with a report the other day saying, Baker Mayfield is going to be your starter. So I don't think he makes up stories. I'm going to take him at his word on that. That was the report that came out from him and Joe Bucs fan. I thought that all along. And, with Kyle Trask, he's got an opportunity to play against the Jets on Saturday night. We'll see how he performs with the number ones. But the Bucs they may have already made this decision, and I think it's going to be Baker Mayfield. But I've been wrong before. I may be wrong again. What do you say?
That may be right. He may be the starter for about 4 or 5 weeks, I think, till he gets hurt again.
Well, you can't get hurt. You got to protect him no matter what quarterback you got, unless you got Lamar Jackson or Michael Vick or somebody that can escape the nonsense and the pressure, which you had a lot of the other night. And we'll get to Brian Baldinger's breakdown of Luke Gedeke, which is ugly. That right side, that whole right side the other night was not good. I get it. You're playing a rookie right guard there, and
do you think it's time to just pass on Gedeke and just get him out of there?
I don't know what you do at this point because Ryan Jensen, this was the report that came out today, and Todd Bowles was asked about it, and this is in care of Rick Stroud. When we get into the season, and this is Todd Bowles, I don't think we're going to have anybody if they haven't practiced, and Ryan Jensen hasn't practiced. He was also reported from Pewter Report to be in street clothes. So he has not practiced throughout this whole process. So there's a major question if Ryan Jensen is going to have any impact at this point.
When do you guys get your break?
What do you mean?
Your bye week. When do you get your bye week?
It's like fifth week.
I think he'll be back then.
I don't know. If he's not practiced yet, there's major question marks. And I know there's people out there saying, he's going to be fine, but he hasn't practiced. And he's in street clothes. So I don't know what his impact is.
A solid month to get into football shape at least.
Right. Well, this is what also Todd Bowles had to say. You always prepare if somebody gets hurt or somebody's going to stay hurt. So we prepare that way every day. So that hasn't changed. So I don't know. I hope he starts because that offensive line is better. But if he's not, then it's going to be Hansey from last year will be your starting center, or Leverett, and they'll go from there. But that hurts the depth of this Tampa Bay Buccaneer offensive line. Roger, anything else?
That's it, man. It's been a great show, and
I appreciate you, man.
I'll keep watching, and
give you the Ric Flair.
Wednesday night.
Yes, we'll be here Wednesday night as always, my friend. Thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate you. All right.
Have a good night.
All right. Good stuff. Open phone lines if you want to get in and talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the preseason performance the other night. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. Let's go out to the comments. We'll read these comments, and then we'll get more into this Bucs situation. Christopher O'Reilly, appreciate you. Yeah. Alex, I actually want to call in. You did. Thank you very much for the call. Call back if you like to. What's up, Peter Blake? What's going on, sitting? Roger says first. Roger, again, let's have a great show. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe. Absolutely. YouTube chats out there, and also Facebook stars. If you like the content, give to the content here. Franco could be in big trouble if found true. Absolutely. Mike says another reason to stay away from social media. As an athlete, people are desperate enough to pull people under the bus. You're exactly right. I mean, I always go back to Johnny Manziel, right? The special that's on Netflix right now, how much trouble he had. You know, anytime he would come to a party, somebody would have a cell phone out. You're coming to my house, put your cell phone away. I'm not here to entertain social media. I got too much to lose. Am I yelling? Yes. Because I feel passionate about it. I mean, put yourself in those shoes. If you have that much to lose, which rhymes, by the way, I guess I'm a rapper in another life. Why would you even risk it? What's the point? Clicks, likes, shares. You're already making money as an athlete. Why take the chance? So yes, social media can be a good thing. We've shown that. Social media can be somewhat toxic, right? All right, Christopher Cole, evening, guys. What's going on, Christopher? Oh, yeah! Let's go out to Ben. Even if Wander is cleared, he most likely still face a stiff punishment. Trevor Bauer got over 300-day suspension for allegations of rape that he was ultimately cleared of. Manfred doesn't play around. That's it. That's what it's about. It's about image. Whether you're innocent or guilty or not, it's about image. It's a black eye for Major League Baseball to talk about Wander Franco right now. Instead of talking about him being a superstar for the Tampa Bay Rays, you're talking about him with allegations. What do you think that does to the commissioner? You think it makes him mad? Of course it does. Because he's trying to build this league up. It's about money. It's about the bottom line. That takes money away. Not only from the player not playing, but also the PR nightmare, which it's tough to come back from. Which leagues lose money. Talk about the NFL all you want to. They're about it. They're all about the bottom line. All of them. If it costs them money, they start to pay attention. Case in point, Ray Rice, who on camera slugged his wife, got 2 games. They brought his wife up to New York. They interviewed him. They interviewed his wife. It wasn't the proper thing to do. When did the NFL take a stand? When it started to cost them money. When it was a black eye for the league. Same thing. That's all they need. You just need somebody to make a big stink, try to cancel somebody, come out and say, Major League Baseball is supporting this player. They're supporting the fact of those allegations, if they're true. And then, boom, all your money's gone. It's all gone after that. Ben, you're absolutely right. There's a major opportunity to get a lengthy suspension, even if he's innocent. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And I hate to talk like this, but this is the reality of the situation. I'm not making this up. Look it up. Greg Hardy suspended for 2 games, but once it hits TMZ, then all hits the fan. And then it starts to cost the NFL money. Then they take it seriously. Why do you think they enacted those rules off the field? Because they don't want to cost themselves money. Although, Alvin Kamara only gets 3 games because he's a superstar with off the field stuff. Somebody else gets something else. Why? Because it costs them money. Same thing with Major League Baseball. And that's what they care about. I mean, they really don't care. They kind of care about you being a superstar. I think you kind of get different treatment. But if it starts to cost the league money, you can better believe it. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. All right, let's go on to Mike. Maybe if these maggots get 15-year sentences, then the BS would stop. Again, I'm not going to go with it. It's an allegation. I don't know. I know that you feel strongly about it. You may be a father, Mike. I get that. I understand it. We don't know. I'm not going to sit here and convict the guy. I report it. People were trying to say on social media that's what I was doing. I wasn't doing it. I was just reporting it. You bring up a number 1 prospect. If you're the Tampa Bay Rays, there's something about it. There's something that doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense yesterday when you bench him during a promotional day. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense when you bench him and he's your hottest hitter. That doesn't make sense. You know what makes sense? Not having the PR nightmare that's going to follow. So you do bench him. You let Major League Baseball. You agree to the restricted list. Dollars and cents. I'm rapping again. Hey, Chris, welcome in, bro. Thank you very much, Roger, for welcoming him in. Christopher Cole, heck, if they keep on, they're going to miss the playoffs. I'm not ready to say that. Roger says, I said only thing that would stop this team is injury. I think I'm right. Unfortunately, Christopher Cole, the Greek, absolutely joined us tonight. Greek guys, absolutely. KR, evening, guys. Thank you very much, KR, for tuning in. Still owe you, Wayne. Oh, yeah. Let's go on to Christopher Cole. I saw Brian Baldinger's breakdown of the Steelers' 4th round, Nick Herbig, and he just dominated Luke Gedeke and others. Steelers got themselves a steal in the 4th round, and he even talked about he's falling around TJ Watt, but that is not TJ Watt. That is a 4th round player. That is a 2nd to 3rd string guy. And Luke Gedeke is your starter going forward. If he's your starter, he's got to play better. We'll listen to what Todd Bowles had to say in care of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the day after with a press conference. And you judge for yourself. Hey, KR says Roger. Jay says, love the all-star cast. I know what you meant, David. So how about them Bucs? Yeah, how about them Bucs?
How about them Bucs, baby?
Let's go out to Christopher. Hey, KR. KR. Hey, Roger. Hey, Chris. KR says, evening, Peter and Harry and Evan. Good stuff about the Rays. Thank you, KR. Appreciate you as always. Woo! Sad situation about Wander. Hopefully he can clear his name. If not, they're going to have to cut ties and void that contract. But yeah, the Rays' lackluster moves at the trade deadline didn't help. Shaking my head. Hell of a debate by Baker as I think he's going to be solid. He looked poised and didn't force the football. He can only go up from here. I agree. 8 for 9, 63 yards. 10-play, 59-yard drive, command of the offense. We'll get out to Brian Baldinger's breakdown of Baker Mayfield. Also, Beast Mode group on here tonight. Awesome show. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Yeah. Always. Happy Creamsicle Day, if I didn't say that enough. Right there, buckpower.com TV, given to me by the owner and curator of that site, Mr. Paul Stewart, who is the unofficial historian of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but eventually will be the official historian of the Bucs, in my opinion. Rays could have had Verlander and or Scherzer, but they don't spend the money. The kid got too much money at one time, possibly. Rustic Rosati, beast mode. Thank you very much. As always, KR. The Rays need a leader. They could have got Sal Perez, but nope, the management failed to address the need that they've been missing. Mike Walker says, go Rays, go Rays.
Oh, yeah.
Zach Mitchell says, go Bolts, go Bolts. Good stuff, Zach. Appreciate you as always tuning in. Question, tell me if I'm wrong. I didn't. Baker and Kyle play with the same players in the first half, and didn't Kyle and Warford play with the same players in the second half? Well, pretty much the same players to a certain degree, and Kyle is going to get the opportunity to play with the first team on Saturday night versus the Jets. So that is going to be we're going to have to watch. We're going to have to see where they go. I think Jason Light needs Kyle to be the number one quarterback. He can't afford another first or second round bust, especially not now that Brady is not here. I understand where you're coming from, but it's a second round pick, right? Sometimes it doesn't necessarily work out. And with, everybody talking about how Jason Light is not the greatest general manager, yeah, I take issue with it. He's the one that put this team together. He's the one that put the team together to win a Super Bowl. Whether it was Brady choosing the team was already here, making the moves. Has he missed on draft picks? Absolutely. Every general manager misses on draft picks. Would it be disappointing if he misses on a Kyle Trask? Absolutely. Is it the end of the world? No. Because now it's different with the quarterback. You look at Arizona. They had a quarterback they drafted. What was his name? Josh Rosen 1 year, and then they draft Kyler Murray the next. Quarterbacking has kind of changed. You're the Cleveland Browns, you draft a quarterback every 2 or 3 years. That's how it works for them. Until you go out into free agency and get Deshaun Watson. Everyone, Shadow is here. Thank you, Shadow.
Yeah.
Christopher Cole, if the defense is top 5, then Bulls will be back another year. Agree with you on that. And they could possibly be a top 5 defense this year. The joint practice is going to be telling for the entire team, as only one joint practice for the Jets, as it's not going to be 2 like it was originally thought. So now the Bucs are going to have to find another place to train. Let's see here. Christopher Cole, Light needs to check the waiver wire for a right tackle, center, or cornerback depth. And I'm here, Peter. I see you, Shadow.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for tuning in, as always. I tell you what, let's take a quick break. Let's go out to our sponsor here, Best Hope Counseling, on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Keep it locked. Are you an athlete or professional struggling with life or career transition? Life isn't always easy, but hope is always present. Best Hope Counseling will help you move forward. For nearly a decade, licensed marriage and family therapist Larry Baumgartner has helped clients empower change and discover solutions using a solution-focused therapy approach. Conversations will focus on what you desire to change, not just the problems that brought you into counseling. From anger to depression or other emotions, Best Hope Counseling is there for you. Contact Larry personally on his direct line at 727-946-1346. Again, 727-946-1346 for a telehealth appointment in Florida and Minnesota, or in person an appointment in Minnesota. Take time out and begin your game plan to reconnect, rebuild, and restore happiness in your life. BestHopeCounseling.com. All right, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Open phone lines if you want to get in on them. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. Let's go out to Todd Bowles here the day after. This is a little bit older here. This is Saturday morning, as the Bucs provided us this press conference. I wanted you to hear what he had to say about quarterback performance, offensive line performance here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Enjoy.
Thanks for doing this, by the way. I was wondering, after watching the tape, just your overall thoughts on the way both your quarterbacks, well, actually all 3 of your quarterbacks, the way they handled themselves last night.
I thought they all had poise and handled themselves very well. from that standpoint. I think Kyle let one get away on the long yardage situation, but other than that, I thought they played well.
What would you like to see out of those guys going into this next preseason game? How can they kind of build on those performances?
Just continue to run the offense, not try to go outside the framework of what we're trying to do, and they haven't, and get better and understand what they have to take down the field and what they don't. So that's been good so far.
Thank you.
As a reminder to media, please raise your hand when you have a question. We'll go to Scott Reynolds next.
Hey, Coach, when you went back and looked at the film of the offensive line, especially on the right side with the young guys, Cody Malk and Luke Gedeke, can you discuss your thoughts on how those two guys performed?
Well, they had a lot of good plays, but I thought they got high at times, and they got pushed back a little bit when they did get high. So it's a couple of technique things we need to work on. That's why they played a lot, and they'll play a lot next week to get better at that.
Thanks, Coach.
We'll go to Greg Allman.
Hey, Coach, sorry if I'm asking something that was already asked already, but you guys have been fairly quiet in training camp in terms of transactions and adding veterans for depth. Do you have any pause? Do you look at any positions where you might need to bring in more experienced depth after watching last night, or do you still feel good about what you have in the young depth you work with already?
Not yet. We got to give them time to play. I mean, one game isn't going to settle it. We'll give them another game and see if they grow any from this week. And if we need to look at depth, we probably won't start looking until after this week.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If any media have a question, please raise your hand. We'll go to John Romano.
Hey, Todd. I know it's preseason. I know it's small sample size, but I'm just curious about your first impressions of Canales', what Canales is trying to do on offense.
I like it. I thought he did a good job play calling. I thought we had some things we wanted to work on that we got accomplished. You know, it's different in preseason calling the game than things you're trying to work on once the season starts, when you really have to call the game. But I thought he did a good job with each quarterback playing to their strengths, and I thought that was good.
We'll go to Rick Stroud.
Coach, last year there was some issues on short yardage. I think you had one last night or two. Like, what's the key to getting those?
We had two last night. The key to getting those is really some kind of variety. You know, you try to smash mouth in preseason, but during the season, you got to have some type of variety. We know everybody's going to crash the middle and smoke the middle. So we got to have certain plays that's etched in stone. That's our bread and butter that we can be good at and know we can gain 1 yard. So we'll be working on that this week.
Thanks.
We'll go to Scott Reynolds.
Hey, Coach, last night you were talking about tackling and how it needed to improve, and you can work on it. Without having live tackling periods and maybe taking guys to the ground for, a few plays, how can you practice wrapping up effectively when, so much of it is just kind of, two-hand touch, if you will, in practice?
It's more or less of coming to balance as far as the tackle itself. We're out of control when we get there. We got to come to balance and have our knees under us and our legs under us so we can make the tackle. We're coming in there flying, head full of steam, and we're flailing around. We got to come to balance a lot better. We can practice that.
Thanks, Coach.
JC Allen.
Hey, Coach, there's several depth battles going on in camp. Wide receiver, outside linebackers, one you mentioned. Did anyone step up and kind of separate themselves from the pack last night?
I don't think anyone separated themselves. There are those that had better outings statistically than others, but I don't think the separation has showed yet looking at the tape. They all still have things to work on. Every battle will continue this week, and we'll go from there.
And what did you see out of Yaya and Savassier last night?
You can see Yaya strong. Obviously, he got his feet under him after a while, but he's got some technical things to work on that we'll get better at. Once he settled down after the first series, I thought they did well. Savasi is still very smart. He has 2 or 3 things he has to work on. Playing teams and playing all the defense is tough going in, but I thought he did some good things. I thought he had some mistakes that we can correct.
Thanks, Coach.
Greg Allman.
Todd, I know, I think you'd mentioned this in the spring, and I realized last night we hadn't really asked you about it. Your defensive staff is largely the same for last year. Obviously, George is here now, but in terms of your game day operations, everything on the defensive side, is that largely the same as what it was last year? No big changes there?
I'm sorry, say that again. You were going out a little bit.
Sorry, I was just asking if your defensive, all the play calling, all the game day responsibility, if that's all the same, since your personnel is largely the same on the defensive coaching side.
I mean, it changed a little bit when George got here. We did a little tinkering last night. It changed around a little bit. Coach Foote called the game actually last night, so we're working on some things there. Coach Rogers will call it this week, so we're doing some different things there. But technically, it's the same.
And do you plan on calling the games in the regular season again? Is that something you've decided, or could that change as well?
It could change, but right now I plan on calling it.
Okay, thanks, Todd.
We'll go to Rick Stroud.
Hey, Coach, you guys will be going to New York. I'm just curious what you like about these joint practices and just how valuable this will be from an evaluation standpoint for your quarterbacks, for all your players, really.
It's good for the veteran guys to go up there because in preseason you hardly show anything, so it's pretty vanilla, and you can get all your stuff in during the week in practice. So it's really played like a game, and that's why you allow the rest of those guys come game time. The practices aren't on film, so you can really run your defense and your offense, and they can run their defense and their offense, and you can get a look at live stuff full speed. And come preseason game, everything's very vanilla. So that's when the younger guys usually get their experience to fly around and play. So the practices for us are like games for the veterans. And then the game itself is really for experience for the rookies.
Do you like their ability to bond on the road? I mean, it's a road trip, but you're in a hotel for a number of days.
I think anytime you get a chance to do that, it's great. Especially the way camps have changed over the years. So when you have bonding time, it always helps in camp.
Thanks.
We have time for a few more. We'll go to Scott Reynolds.
So, Coach, based on what you just said, are we going to expect a lot of the starters to sit down for the Jets game, similar to what happened last night?
If they can get a lot of reps in, yeah. Those who don't get a lot of reps in will play in the game. If we can get the reps that we need to get in for those 2 practices, which they will take the bulk of, we'll evaluate that probably that Thursday or Friday.
And then can you comment on the play of your nickels last night and if either Izzian or Josh Hayes, made any plays, made some progress, et cetera?
Well, Izzian was solid. He had one technical error, but I thought he was solid. He didn't get a lot of action, but he did all the right things. We know what he brings to the table. I think he's the front runner right now. I think Hayes has excellent feet. As we continue to watch him, he's getting better and better, so we'll continue to work with him.
Thanks, Coach.
Last question will come from JC Allen.
Coach, just kind of staying on that vein of the second and third preseason game, will you expect to know who your quarterback is going into that week 3 preseason game, and will the starters get some work with them in a game type action there?
We'll evaluate that after the Jets game and see where we are. I won't make that decision right now. That'll be determined after the game going forward. Both of them will, as far as who will play in the third preseason game and who will start that one.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, there you go. That was Coach Todd Bowles after the game there on Saturday morning. Thanks a lot again to Danielle Burns of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for providing us with that here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Give me a call if you want to talk about that. Itzian as the nickel. That's interesting in itself. I thought it was going to be Zion McCollum, but he's going to be outside. So there you go. They haven't decided on the quarterback situation. Definitely got to play better when it comes to the offensive. Lots of good stuff there from Todd Bowles. And again, open phone lines if you want to call up and talk about it. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. Again, 727 409-7528. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Let's go out to our comments. Christopher Cole, it looked like Logan Hall was double and triple teamed all night. David says, I know people keep saying you can't judge Kyle by one preseason game, but I'm not. I'm going by his previous preseason games, and he looks the same. I really don't see any growth. That's a fair point. I didn't understand why all the starters didn't even play one or two series. Heck, the Saints and Chiefs played all the starters for their series, but Jason Light talked about it. He wants to get some evaluation from the younger players. That's why. And then also, once again, the number one priority in the preseason, Christopher Cole, is what? To stay healthy, not be injured. Let's go out to Christopher again, at least to get acclimated with tackling and stuff like that. Understand where you're coming from. Let's go out to Brian Baldinger on his breakdown of Baker Mayfield and his throws. Now, you will notice on the touchdown on the right side, Luke Gedeke gets away with a major hold there. But besides that, a pretty good breakdown here by Baldinger. Here we go.
Field. Like, you watch this, Keanu Benton, the rookie nose tackle here. Bam! He swims. Now he's coming right. He's going to go knock down, and he's right at Baker's legs. Baker goes down. But the throw, when a quarterback gets hit, he still makes a throw like that. Like, you watch the first touchdown of the season for the Bucs, it's to Trey Palmer. This throw is drop dead perfect. Like, that's a great throw over the corner, Pierre. Like, you watch this right here and you go, man, Baker will take this one. Opening touchdown of the season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield with a floater to Trey Palmer in the back of the end zone over the outstretched fingers of the corner. Great job by Palmer keeping both feet in, great hands, and the Bucs, just like that, were on the board in the second quarter.
Vision. Hold on a sec. There we go. All right, let's get that out of there. Let's go ahead and come back here. There we go. And let's go out to his breakdown, if you will, of Nick Herbig against Luke Gedeke. That was the good side. Now this is the bad. Here we go.
And on the Steelers' fourth-round pick, Nick Herbig out of Wisconsin. You watch this play right here. So watch the head fake on Luke Gedeke right here. Like, bam, the head fake. Then he gets inside, and he just flattens, okay? Inside and flat. Now, this is like an impossible set right here for the tackle. But he beats him right off the snap right here and just ghosts the right tackle and running back, and he gets to Kyle Trask right there. Then you watch this play right here. You got a YY formation, two tight ends. Gets inside the tight end. Like, he's on all four, but he doesn't go to the ground. No, not Nick Herbig. He comes through, and he gets to the back. And then this play right here. Like, the Steelers can find wide receivers and pass rushers. And I'm telling you, this Nick Herbig, bam. See this move? This is next. Attack the inside shoulder. Get the tackle turning. Now attack the inside shoulder and get to the quarterback. This guy is following TJ around like a little puppy from the same school, Nick Herbig.
All right, welcome back to the Evolution. I mean, not good stuff. Just not good. I mean, a great breakdown, of course, by Brian Baldinger, who does a phenomenal job with breakdowns, but just not good for Bucs fans. And I don't care what quarterback you have back there. When you're not giving a quarterback at least 3 to 5 seconds to throw the ball and he's got pressure in his face, it doesn't matter. Right? So that right now, the biggest thing for me going forward will be not only that offensive line and that they could stay healthy, but that right side overall. What's your biggest concern? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Bulls had this to say about playing the Jets. It'll be very good to get some situational football done against someone other than ourselves. This is according to Pewter Report. We need a lot of work. We need to see different things. Everybody kind of gets stuck in a rut, so to speak, camp-wise, and kind of knowing who does what and what does it win. So it'll be good to go up against somebody else. It'll be good work for us. Curtis, welcome to the Evolution. What's on your mind tonight, my friend?
What's going on, my brother?
Man, just a lot of things to talk about tonight, whether it's, Wander Franco, which, by the way, update the score right now, 3-0, top of the fifth, Rays over the San Francisco Giants and, of course, San Francisco.
Well, that's good for Rays.
That's good for the Rays, right? Exactly.
We're here to talk about these Bucs.
Yep, go for it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a Red Sox fan. I got nothing against the Rays.
Yep.
But football is here.
Football is here, my friend. You're absolutely correct.
It's time to talk football. So,
yep.
Number one, listen, I'm not taking a lot away from that game.
Mm-hmm.
How many people started?
There was a lot of people that met. It was 18 to 19 players that didn't start. That were usual starters. So you're exactly right. I completely agree with you.
Number two, you have a brand new team learning a brand new offense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do we have? What do we have on offense coming from the Super Bowl? You have Ryan Jensen, which he's not even healthy.
Not even healthy. Yep. Agree.
You have Tristan Wirfs, who was on the Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
But he's playing a new position.
Correct.
And you got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. That's all you have.
Well, in offense, I mean, defensively, you also have some players on there too. I mean, they still have talent on this team, but I understand what you're coming from because there is a transition process. The team has gotten younger, and by design, of course, they've gotten younger.
Number one, you don't show your whole hand in the first preseason.
Of course not. And people saying, well, I don't know about Dave Canales' system because he ran, the first 3 times. And I get it. A lot of people disappointed by that, but he's not going to show you everything. The Bucs are not going to show you everything they want to do against Minnesota. They're not going to do that.
Tired. I am so tired of these so-called Bucs fans.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, God, here we go again. Season ain't even started yet.
Yep.
We don't even – listen, let me tell you something. You've been watching football. I've been watching football for years.
Yep.
This team could hit the ground running, and then we won't even remember this preseason game.
Of course you won't. You won't remember the preseason game. Do you remember last year's preseason at all?
Nope.
No, I mean, I think they lost every game, right?
You know what we remember about the preseason last year? Brady took 11 days off.
There you go. That's what you remember. I don't even remember results. Did they lose every game? I mean, Baltimore, they won every preseason game, it seems like. Did they win? I don't even know if they won last Saturday or not, but they have a streak of winning preseason games. I mean, who cares about preseason at this point?
Now, listen. Preseason, what did I get from it? Now, instead of talking about the negatives, let's talk about the positive.
Mm-hmm.
That kid, Devin Tompkins,
Tompkins, yes.
That kid looks good.
He does. He catches everything. We've heard it throughout the whole training camp process. He catches everything.
That Trey Palmer touchdown, that was a great grab.
It was. And he's explosive and he can run and he can run by people. Absolutely.
And listen, you know how I feel about Baker Mayfield. I'm not a huge Baker Mayfield fan.
I get that.
But he looked good rolling out on the bootleg.
He did. Wasn't it nice to see a rollout or a quarterback waggle, which you didn't see in an offense? Wasn't it nice to see pass play action in an offense, which you didn't have a lot of last year with Tom Brady?
Yep.
Okay.
So you have to remember, you didn't have starting running backs, starting tight ends, starting wide receiver. Like what are we really talking about? We're talking about the first preseason game.
Well, that's it. What you're talking about. I think the most disappointing thing is that you're starting right tackle and possibly you're starting right guard just look bad. I mean, the rookie, okay, I can understand. But Gedeke, that's your guy. He's got to play better. He knows he's got to play better. This coaching staff knows he's got to play better.
I hate to say this, but I'm going to say this. How many draft picks pan out to be great players for the teams that he get drafted by?
Well, it's tough. I mean, you find a guy, and I know Jason Light loves these small school offensive linemen, and he's done a good job with Ali Marpet. Alex Kappa showed promise until he went to Cincinnati. Now he's there. I mean, you've had some guys there from smaller schools, and I think that's what Light anticipates again. So, again, it's just one game, but he's going to be your starter. He's got to play better.
Yeah. Well, I've been watching football for a long time, just like
Mhm.
you have, even college football.
I know you have.
And listen, I've always told myself if I ever was a coach or anything and I needed an offensive line, I'm going to the Big Ten. I'm
Right.
going to the Midwest, Northeast.
Mhm.
Those big guys play in the snow. They play in the rain. I'm not saying that the guys in the South are bad, but I'm going to go get me one of them hogs, like they used to call the Redskins back in the days. I need them big tough guys, and I don't know. I don't know what to expect out of this offensive line. All I know is that you're right. If the offensive line plays as bad as it did last year,
You have no
we're gonna have the
chance.
same-
You got no
we're
chance.
gonna have the same results.
Yeah, you
But-
may have it may be worse.
But in other words, you also have more mobile quarterbacks this year.
Right.
So you give a little, you get a little, but people are like, oh God, we look so terrible. It's week 1 of the preseason.
I know, and you know what the problem is? The problem is the expectations are not that high this year. The problem is that the national media has been in Bucs fans' ears for the last couple months, and they're saying this team is going for a number 1 pick, and I get it. It's so easy to say Tom Brady is not a part of this team anymore, so they're going down the dumps, and it's just the furthest thing from the truth. I mean, I'm not expecting them to win the Super Bowl, but I definitely think this division is winnable, right? I mean, did you see Carolina?
Not only that, but the other thing about it is this: we don't know what's going on in that building in Tampa.
No, I like to know what's going on in that building in Tampa. I like to be a fly on the wall every day, every night.
I'm sorry. Can we not go look at what New England went through the last 3 years when Tom Brady left?
Oh, sure.
The second thing is, I'm sorry, but a number 1 overall pick nowadays, you can trade up and get those.
Right, and there's no
you're not-
guarantee that just because you get the number 1 overall pick that it's going to pan out, because we've had
And nowadays it's not like back in the day. You don't have to trade away your whole future. You can give up 2 first-round picks and a decent player.
Yep.
And get a number 1 overall pick nowadays.
Sure.
Because the number 1 overall pick doesn't necessarily mean he's the best player in the draft. I mean, look, we can go down the list. Patrick Mahomes didn't go first overall.
Nope.
Even though he's wishy-washy, Tua didn't go number 1 overall.
Nope.
Justin Herbert didn't go number 1 overall.
Nope.
Justin Fields didn't go number 1 overall.
Nope.
So I don't want to hear this number 1 overall crap.
Yep.
Now, the only way you need to go number 1 overall is if you focused on a guy. You don't want anybody taking any risk to try to get this guy.
That's it. Baker Mayfield, number 1 overall, and it didn't necessarily translate or transition.
Okay.
Right.
Let's
as I keep on telling people about it, people they don't necessarily like Baker Mayfield because of the turnover situation and some of the stuff off the field, and I understand that. But let's be fair about it. We've seen quarterbacks that have come into this league and not had basically a consistent offensive coordinator or coach, and what happens with that quarterback. If you change systems with a quarterback every 2 to 3 years, it's going to ruin that quarterback's development. Period.
Well, let's go back to that draft. Number 1, Baker Mayfield.
Right.
Number 3, Sam Darnold.
Right.
Number 7, the Buffalo traded with Tampa.
Correct.
To get
for Vita
Josh
Vea.
Allen.
That's correct.
Number 10, Josh Rosen. Where's he at now?
Josh Rosen. He's no longer in the league.
Exactly.
Yes.
And Lamar Jackson. So out of the 5 quarterbacks that went in the top round, the first round, 40% are still in the NFL or the team they got drafted by.
That's it.
And they've become all pro. 40% is not a good percentage.
No.
If you get 40% on a test, you fail.
That's it. You fail. Exactly. You're exactly right. And that's why it is so difficult these days, even if you have the number 1 pick, to take a quarterback. You better get it right, because if you don't get it right, then basically the offensive coordinator's fired, the coach is fired, and you're starting all over again. And, in simple terms, you're ruining that quarterback's development. You're ruining it. You're ruining his quarterback development.
I've been getting off the Buccaneers subject. I'm gonna go with this. I'm looking at people talking about CJ Stroud. First of all, this guy is in Houston. Houston has been a dumpster fire since that whole Deshaun
It still may be a dumpster fire just because they changed it. I mean, how long do you think it will take that coach to establish not only an identity but a culture there?
He needs at least 2 years.
Right. So you think that quarterback is going to be able to do that overnight? Hell no. That's the reason why it's tough to start a rookie quarterback for that transition process.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. And people, God, Harry the Greek is going to kill me for this, but I'm going to say it. Jordan Love is in the best position for himself.
Is he?
He sat behind Aaron Rodgers for 3 years.
That's a fair point.
He's got the same head coach that drafted him.
Correct.
He's in the same system that he's been in. This is his 4th year in the same system.
Correct. And that means a lot. That means a lot. It means it is so important. I mean, we always talk about it, right? System quarterback, system wide receiver. Why did they work out? Because they were a part of a system. Why did Tom Brady work out so well? Because he was a part of a system that was consistent with players around him and coaching around him. Joe Montana, West Coast system. A system. He sat there consistent. Steve Young sat behind Joe Montana. When they were ready to move, they moved on with Steve Young. He became a Hall of Famer. It is so important. System is not a bad thing, but it definitely is a thing that you have to have as an NFL quarterback to transition over to possibly have success in the NFL. Can we say that?
Absolutely. But even right here in Tampa.
Yes.
We had Lovie Smith. We got rid of Lovie Smith for Dirk Cutter because of Dirk Cutter and Jameis Winston's chemistry together.
Bingo. There you go. Because you don't want to change the system.
Do you think Dirk Cutter was anybody's choice as the head coach? Absolutely not.
Well, somebody threw it out there that he was going to be the next Miami Dolphins head coach or the next San Francisco 49ers head coach, and the Bucs panic. And I can understand the panic because at the end of it, do you want your quarterback who's going into his 2nd year to have a new system? Of course you don't. And that didn't even work out. There was no guarantee that worked out. I mean, that's the toughest thing. You could sit here and say all day long, and I know there's Bucs fans that will scream from the rooftops, you need to go after Drake May. You need to go after Caleb Williams, and there's a guarantee they're going to be phenomenal. But Patrick Mahomes does not grow on trees. Just because you compare him to Patrick Mahomes doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be Patrick Mahomes, Caleb Williams.
First of all, when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, he has one of the top three head coaches in the NFL. I'm sorry. For me, the top 3 head coaches in the NFL is Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin.
There you go.
That's where the line is drawn.
Why was he so great? Why is Patrick Mahomes so great?
Number one, he sat behind Alex Smith for what, 2 years?
Bingo. I think it's about 1 year. 1 year he sat behind him.
Doesn't matter. He's been in the same system.
Boom. There it is.
Day one.
Yes.
Since day one.
Yes.
And guess what? The system changes by the growth of the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. You have the same coach, you have the same system in place, and that's why he's successful.
Listen, you know what? Me and my buddy just had this conversation. God, I love you, Pete. I love you so much. Me and my buddy had this conversation the other day. Go look at the growth of Donovan McNabb. Go back and look at McNabb's career.
Right.
McNabb wasn't great his first year or two, but he started getting consistently better.
Yep.
Better.
Why?
And
because you put something around him. You put an offensive line around him. You put outside weapons around him. You give him a running game because you don't want it all to be right. You don't want it to be all on your quarterback at the and then on top of it, you have Andy Reid and he starts to become coachable. And you have all like the outside targets. He didn't become really good until he got T.O. Right.
Exactly.
Right. That's exactly what happened with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts this year. You get A.J. Brown. That's exactly what happened with Josh Allen with getting Stephon Diggs. I mean, there's nothing new here. It's just emulation by all the teams. That's all it is.
If the Bucs could do something, people would be chomping at the bit to throw the ball to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Chomping at the bit. Because guess what? Look at Lamar Jackson. It took him his whole career to get OBJ, and I'm sorry, to me, OBJ is still washed up. He's a decent receiver. To me, he's more of a name than a
He's
receiver.
living off that one catch when he's
That
with the
one catch.
Giants. That is what
That
he's
one
living
catch.
off of. Because what
Absolutely.
has he done? What has OB done for me
where-
lately? It's
why
an
does-
old
why
Janet
does-
Jackson song, kids. Go ahead and Google it. What have you done for me lately? And the only thing that OBJ has done lately has catch that one pass, right? He had a pretty good run there with the Rams to win a Super Bowl. I'll take that back until he got hurt.
He had a good game.
Right.
He had a good game in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Then he took. But why do I have to argue with people that OBJ is better than Mike Evans? Where is he better than Mike Evans?
Because he had the one catch, because he's
One
flashy,
catch.
because he's out there and on social media doing all this nonsense, and Mike Evans is not doing that. Look at the numbers.
Exactly.
So
if Mike Evans, was playing in another decade or
Yep.
another generation,
Yep.
this guy would be a top 3 receiver.
That's
To
it.
me, he still is a top 3 receiver.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's all about Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. When you're young like that, you're expected to have good years.
I love the fact that Mike Evans has done this without really a consistent core. I mean, you have Tom Brady. I mean, who do you have after that? Jameis Winston. Well, you throw a lot, but
Come on, Jamar Chase left Joe Burrow in college and went back to Joe Burrow.
right. It's not like
Jefferson-
Mike Evans has had Joe Burrow for his whole career and still
Justin
getting it
Jefferson,
done. Right.
Justin Jefferson went from Joe Burrow. He's got Kirk Cousins. People bash Kirk Cousins, but the guy goes out there and he plays every Sunday.
Yeah, he does. He definitely plays. He definitely plays, and Jefferson doesn't consider him a top quarterback. So
I'm sorry. This is my question for Peter's show. I'm sorry, Peter. I'm not trying to take over your show.
No, it's okay.
As a Bucs fan,
Yes.
would you rather have Baker Mayfield or Kirk Cousins?
I'm telling you right now, as crazy as this sounds, I'm not trying to be a homer here. I'd rather have Baker Mayfield. I think he fits perfectly in this system. I think he's going to have a turnaround year, much like Geno Smith. I think he can make all the throws. And I just think he just needs a system, if you will, to cater to his talents and hide those weaknesses. So to answer your question, I would take a Baker Mayfield over a Kirk Cousins. I would.
This is the one thing where I agree with you at.
Okay.
I will take that. I will take Baker Mayfield too, because this is something that I didn't think about, and it just punched me right in the face. I'm sitting on the ground outside talking to you because my family is in there sleeping. I don't want to get yelled at.
We don't want to wake them up. I've been in that situation before. But he's like, you got to be quiet. You got to be quiet. What are we doing here? I'm not going to church. I'm doing a sports talk show here. You know,
this is what I want people to think about.
Yes.
And I just thought about this myself. How much does Baker Mayfield kind of have in common with Russell Wilson?
They have some things in common. I mean, body wise, their mobility is there.
It's not exact, but there's a lot of similarities there.
There it is. You're completely correct. And he can make every throw, and he's got confidence. Does he try to fit the ball into those little windows sometimes, and that cost him? Yes, and that's the one thing you have to cut down on. But the way you do that, and you talked about it with Russell Wilson. What made Russell Wilson a better quarterback when he first came into the league? The emphasis on a run game. That is what the Bucs are anticipating. That's why they're going with their system at this point. Good stuff, Curtis. Anything else, my friend?
Man, nothing, man. I just listen. Stop panicking. It's too early to panic. There's no reason to panic.
Right.
Let things develop before. You know what I'm worried about? You know what I'm worried about?
What are you worried about?
That kid Yaya. Is Yaya okay?
Yaya's okay, man. Yaya is definitely okay. And I tell you right
That's
now, I want to see this kid fully develop, because I think the sky's the limit for him.
I think him and Kalijah off the end together is going to be one of the scariest things I could possibly think about in my life.
I tell you what, those kids get healthy and they start, and even Todd Bowles talked about it in that presser there. Technically, if they get better on some things, especially Yaya, I think he has an opportunity to take some reps away from JTS and Nelson. I do.
And Zion McCullough, I want to give a shout out to this kid because he looked bad on that touchdown pass for Pittsburgh.
Yep.
But he came back and he played ball.
He did. He played ball, and that's the reason why
That's why Todd Bowles gave him a shout out in that presser that week.
That's it.
And I didn't see it myself,
right?
But I saw it in that highlight.
Correct.
And I said, this kid,
got to improve his tackling. His tackling's got to get better. He technically, like he said, he's got to get better. He played that ball perfectly. If that's your future and he's going to contribute on this team, he's definitely got to play better. But the sky's the limit for that kid too.
And what I'm trying to get people to understand is, if you really pay attention, we are going to have a solid defense this year.
I agree.
I think that, God, you know what? I'm a bold prediction. We're going to have a bend but don't break defense.
Not bad. That's not bad at all. You hope you have a bend but don't break defense, and you hope that you don't have breakdowns like you had last year in communication.
Yeah. Well, I think Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis are the most underrated cornerback duel in the NFL.
Okay. I think that's a fair assessment.
And then you put Ryan Neal back there with Winfield. Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
And then you got
this kid Etienne is going to have a nickel opportunity, so we're going to see how that works out. And he's been following around Antoine Winfield Jr. In fact, people are comparing him to Winfield Jr. So if he's anything like Winfield Jr., you got a pretty good player there. Pretty good player.
We all know what Levante Davis is going to bring. I'm not even worried about that. I think Devin White has something to prove this year, and I think that he's got a tiny chip on his shoulder.
He does. He definitely does, and that's a good thing. And I think this defense has a chip on their shoulder. Score right now: 5-1 Rays over the Giants. Bottom of the fifth, 2-on, 1 out. Yes.
You know what? You know what? Okay, I'm gonna switch to baseball. You know what's scary about baseball?
What's that?
It's 5-1 right now.
Yep.
This could all change in a blink of an eye.
Oh, a blink of an eye. Just takes one swing.
That's what I love about baseball.
That's why pitching is so important.
Oh my God.
It's so important. Like everybody talks about hitting, it's pitching. It's pitching.
I remember when I first moved. Well, not when I first moved here, but I remember when the Rays had Crawford and Price and all these guys, and they were the young, upcoming, and they used to give my Red Sox and the Yankees hell.
Oh yeah, you know why? Because he had James Shields and you had
these young kids that didn't know no better.
Scott Kazmir, yep.
Oh my God, man. Oh my.
Jeremy Hellickson, yep. All kinds of.
You know what?
Yep.
It's the same thing now. These kids are kids. You know, you learning who they are as they out there swinging the bat.
Yep.
And they're out here killing the league. And you know what? I take my hat off to Baltimore. They have been in the basement for so long. It's finally good to see them playing ball.
Well, they've been tremendous, and they're not slowing down anytime soon here. Last check, they were winning the game against the Padres. And, of course, a lot of Rays fans are disappointed because they would expect Baltimore to slow down, but they're not right now. We'll see what happens.
But you got to remember, and we talked about this when the season first started.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Rays came out on fire. You know, don't come out on fire, and then, you slow down in the middle of the season. We don't need to slow down in the middle of the season.
Right.
We need you to be consistent.
Right.
My Red Sox, they kind of got hot for a little bit there, and then they kind of like fell off. And I'm like, but I didn't have any expectations for my Reds. But you know what? The thing about it, God, I know you got to go. Me and my buddy looked up the win losses for that whole division. None of these teams are under 500.
I know. It's scary. It's scary how talented the whole LL East is amazing.
It is. Like that whole team, that whole division could be in the playoffs.
Yep.
If they, we could get there. Exactly. So,
all right, my friend. Let me go ahead and give you the Ric Flair. Woo! Appreciate you as always, Curtis. We'll see you on Wednesday night. All right, my friend.
Always, brother.
Love you, brother. There you go. Good stuff there. Good stuff from Curtis. And I allow him to talk and call the show because he doesn't talk over me and he has something to say. Just to update right now, Tyler Glasnow in a jam. He's at 68 pitches, bottom of the fifth, 1 out, bases loaded. So we'll see if he can get out of this jam because right now, boy, they nearly had the guy at third there. We'll read the rest of these comments, and then we'll get out of here for the night. A great show, as always, here on a Monday night. Watching the best sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area, the Sports Web with Amped Up Sports, 1252 Chicago Sports. It's getting exciting. Preseason, I'm not worried about it, but we will see how Trask plays coming up. Then I will decide. Good comment. Of course, my mom right there. Let's go out to Christopher Cole. That OL could be the reason we get the number 1 pick or a top 5 pick. That is absolutely correct. I'm not saying you, Peter, but Winston had it coming from both sides, from Smith and Dotson. He was supposed to stand there and throw a perfect pass, or did people forget in Winston for the same problem? You're exactly right to a certain degree, and then also you don't have a running game. Update the score. Glass now with a strikeout, so now 2 outs, bottom of the 5th, as I'm trying to get off here and watch this game. But you're exactly right. The offensive line wasn't there. He had an opportunity that 1 year there with the Bucs, and it didn't necessarily work out. They wanted to move on. Number 1 overall, 99% of the time, goes to the worst team in the league, where one player is not going to put them in the playoffs. It's a fair assessment. Rob, thank you very much, Rob. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Let's go out to David again. It's really bad these days to be a number 1 overall pick at quarterback, because they usually throw you on the team that has a crappy offensive line, and you get beat up and discouraged in a lot of time and completely change who the player is. I was watching Bill Walsh talk to Roy Firestone on ESPN, and he was quarterback guru, right? I mean, West Coast offense, Joe Montana, Steve Young, development, Steve DeBerg, of course. And he would say, the worst problem with the quarterback at the time is, you've got to protect them, fly out, Rays get out of the inning with no damage. 5-1 there. Coming up in the 6th, Tyler Glass now, a manageable pitch count. So maybe that was his last inning. Maybe he goes another 1 or 2 innings, hopefully, to save that bullpen. But going back to Walsh, he would say, you got to be careful with young quarterbacks, because basically they're going to get the shit beat out of them. I don't think he said shit, but I think he did. But it was, they're going to beat the crap out of you. And I think he was talking about Trent Dilfer at the time when the Bucs drafted him, right? So, you could be good, but the first couple years, because the team isn't good, you got to watch out, because definitely you can ruin that quarterback. You get him hurt not only physically, but mentally. And yes, I did curse. So you're welcome for that. All right. Let's see here. So go back to that comment. It's really bad these days to number 1 overall pick, because they usually throw you in the team. Absolutely. Christopher Cole. Evans' one-handed catch was better than OBJ. Agree with that. Plus, he got destroyed with a helmet-to-helmet hit. That's against Atlanta in Dirk Cutter's first year, I believe in 2016 on Thursday Night Football. And do you know where Scotty went, or even Cameron? David, thank you very much for commenting. As always, Scotty Miller went to the Atlanta Falcons, and Cam Brate, I think he's retired, hasn't signed with the team because there was concussion problems there. All right, guys, again, Rays winning 5-1. We'll keep you abreast of the situation with Wander Franco. Hopefully it all works out, Rays fans. I don't want to see the guy get suspended, but we will definitely cover it the way we do here on the Sports Web. Like and follow the Sports Web on YouTube. Of course, I Love St. Pete, The Hub, Amped Up Sports, and Bucs Life. Thanks to all the guests tonight as the Royals beat the Mariners 7-6. I don't know why I'm doing that, but I am. Thanks to L. Bushman of the Rays Rewind podcast, and of course, Reagan Weiss of The Hub. Do 3 things. We'll be back on Wednesday night. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay sports fans, including the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tampa Bay Rays, and Tampa Bay Lightning, it's your time. Have a great night.
Annual pre-Labor Day car show is speeding your way September 3rd, only at the Stockyard in Holiday, Florida, with cash prizes, raffles, and vendors from all over Pasco County. Don't miss out on this used car show competition, where we are handing out trophies for Best of Show, Best Audio Setup, Best Paint Job, Best Original Design, and many, many more. Call today for more information.
Are you an athlete or professional struggling with life or career transition? Life isn't always easy, but hope is always present. Best Hope Counseling will help you move forward. For nearly a decade, licensed marriage and family therapist Larry Baumgartner has helped clients empower change and discover solutions using a solution-focused therapy approach. Conversations will focus on what you desire to change, not just the problems that brought you into counseling. From anger to depression or other emotions, Best Hope Counseling is there for you. Contact Larry personally on his direct line at 727-946-1346. Again, 727-946-1346 for a telehealth appointment in Florida and Minnesota, or in person an appointment in Minnesota. Take time out and begin your game plan to reconnect, rebuild, and restore happiness in your life. BestHopeCounseling.com.